Okay, welcome back. This is, I believe, the last of our life beginnings and always, but not the last of our life. Period. That sounds right. Um, they are working on other DLC for Step 4, I guess, or Step 4. But those are not out yet, depending on what they are. I may buy them. Excuse me. Um, so we are finishing up our life with beginnings and always, like I said, and next week I will stream the demo for the next Our Life game. That's exactly what it's called, but it's really cute. I have not played that yet, so it will be brand new for everybody. But for this one, I will include a link in the description to the base game, which is free. There are also DLC available for Steps 1, 2, and 3. I will not include a link to any of those in this description because I'm not going to be playing any of them. But for the playlist that this will be part of, there will be a link to the DLCs as well. Those are not free. You want them, you have to buy for them. But the DLC are how they pay for the base game. So it's no skin off your nose. You get like half the content if you don't buy any DLC, but it's still good content. And maybe if your financial situation is the best right now, don't feel pressured to buy the DLC. Buy it when you have the funds. Something to check into. Right. So, where's my cursor? Where's my cursor? So here is, as you can see, I have played all of the moments. And it's interesting. I know I commented on this before, but as you grow older, the moments grow longer, but it makes sense. You don't notice as much when you're a kid. So, I will confess, I cheated and I played through this next bit in my off-stream game, but that was only romance and code. So, this is still going to be new for me in some ways. And then, summer ended. Are you sure? Yes. Moths bounce against your window, attracted by the light of your room. A siren calling slowly darkening the sky. Just as the day was coming to an end, so too would summer. For the record, I noticed that there was something missing when it gave you a gift when he was doing all those dates with you. Turned out that gift was your favorite flower that you had picked. Something that didn't show up in this playthrough, but in my off-stream photos, so I was right on there. And the middle gift, the second gift, that depends on what you put here. But then this game, he gave you a ukulele. In my off-stream game, I had picked a telescope, and he gave me a telescope lens. I thought that was really cute. That little decision that you make, just decorating the bedroom, affected something that happened later. So anyway, this is the day was coming to an end, so too was summer. Those would be moving back into the dorms before long. Luckily, we had been able to complete some stay for a short trip before her own new journey began. Also, for the boat trip, I had it off stream. I had that Lucy get nauseous, and so they ended up having to stay in a cabin, and Phil stayed with them. I can't remember if they were. I think they're non-binary, or maybe they're. No, I don't remember. Anyway, stayed with your character and played Hangman. It's really cute. She'd officially been accepted to her first college a few weeks ago. This was her last chance to see you all in person for Fixing the clothes for the next few months, realizing that you didn't even know when you'd next have the opportunity for everyone to be in the same place again. Yeah, I'll talk about the other streams. It was hard to think that you'd likely be seeing even less of your cousin going forward, but you were delighted that she was pursuing her dreams. While you were still with each other, your family was going to have dinner together. However, the Holdens were tagging along too. So since you work at the tropical place, we'll go with the Chinese restaurant. And I'm gonna grab my bag before I forget. It was somewhere your family had always enjoyed going, ever since you and Liz were tiny. That long-standing connection made it a pretty location for a final meal out before Liz and Lee set off again. Technically, you were getting ready to go out. No, so your mind was only half on it. That sounds about right for someone like me. And usually doing multiple things at once, because my brain can't go on one thing. It was a pleasantly warm evening, the kind that epitomized a vacation feeling, and you were in no mood to spoil it by rushing around. While idly gazing at your room, you saw a small cluster of unopened envelopes. Must have been left for you by a parent earlier. You head over to the table to flip through for anything of interest. As a child, any correspondence was exciting due to its rarities. You recognize now that most of it was mundane, but you were checking any mail you got more regularly of late. Yep, that sounds about right. There was something you were expecting. Stopped in a crisp white envelope, the logo proudly proclaimed the sender, the school you'd applied to. What? Okay. Do something shit about computer. Hang on. There we go. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Four. Took a deep breath and read it. The next step would take nerves. You close your eyes as you breathe deep, the air slipping through your lips. You opened your eyes once more. Pulled apart the glue flap in the front of the envelope and extracted the letter. Your eyes darted over the message, rushing past pleasantries to get to the heart of the matter. Blood pounding in your ears deafened you to the world outside that was contained within these letters. Your heart skidded to a halt as you read your verdict. You've been accepted! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2. You were relieved. The tension flowed out of your body with such intensity that you needed to slump against the wall for support. 1, 2, 3, 4. In my off-screen playthrough, I told Cove right away, but, he's that boyfriend, of course I'm going to tell him. 3. Learn to keep this news to yourself for now. Oh. You know what? Let's go to the dinner announcement. Make an announcement at dinner. Tried your best to finish getting yourself ready for the dinner ahead. It was spring. Your mind had only half been on the task before, and now the news fresh in your mind, you would struggle to concentrate on anything else. Yep. I know how that goes. Trying to recall your thoughts away from the future and back to the present. Time was against you. Mom should have called from downstairs, so it was time to go. You had to check the time, make sure that you had 10 or at least 5 minutes left. You were wrong. Seriously. You tore down the stairs, attempting to juggle your composure among the hurry and excitement. Your mom, who turned to greet you as you arrived, stopped a silent, knowing look. You couldn't possibly have figured out what happened, or so you hoped. As your moms, they were pretty good at telling things without being told. Yep. You watched them hunting for any further signs that they were on the case, but none came. For now, it didn't seem like they knew what was happening. Not exactly, at least, but things were definitely happening, and even if they didn't know for sure what you were thinking, that you could smell something in the air. Their mom, their job. Everyone called into the car. While it was marketed as being suitable to hold 5 people, in practice it made for a very tight pit. Your mom, sitting in the front, was fine. You, Liz, and me were squished into the back, Lee in the middle, wedged between you and your sister. Yeah, We would fit in the back seat of our car just fine. As we got older, especially me and my sisters, got a little wider in the rear area. It became a little harder, and our poor brother ended up sitting in the middle more often than not. But he was always narrow. We were always wide. But Mom was an excellent timekeeper. Thanks to her efforts, he pulled up near the restaurant on time. The process of getting out of the car was slightly easier than squeezing into it, with much less coordination required to release seatbelts and to secure them. Yep. He gave Lee a hand as she clambered out from the middle seat, then headed into the building as a group. The waiter greeted you as you entered. Might let him know how many of you there would be in total, and who had to arrange a table that met your needs. Oh yeah, I have 3 siblings. So even just getting the table for the 6 of us to be a bit of an event. Even with my twin living in Idaho now, so a table for 5 is no joke. You turn promptly to guide you to your seat. You perch comfortably in your chair, your head held aloft with the buoyed by today's good fortune. Family settled down around you, all cheerful and looking forward to the evening ahead. Your drink's order had just been taken when the Holdens came through the door. They were pointed in your direction, though with Mom waving in the air. It was kind of nice and scary. Cove and Mr. Holden came to join you at the table. As greetings were being exchanged, Cove took a seat opposite to you. It had been left empty by unspoken acknowledgement that you and Cove would be willing to sit together. Mr. Holden sat beside him.
Hi!
It's great to see you. Glad you could make it. Hello, everyone. You wouldn't believe how hungry I am. You came to the right place, then. There was some laughter, though Liz groaned playfully, shaking her head at Mom's sense of humor. Growing up, she'd have complained, and Mom would have responded by making another comment. Liz had mellowed over the years, but she still made a show of staring at Mom's jokes. Reaction to them had become a joke in its own right. Yeah, we call them dad jokes in my family because Dad's the one who makes them. Menus were soon passed around, and a temporary hush fell over the table as everyone read. Didn't last long, punctured by comments about what people had eaten here before and light chatter about what people were considering tonight. As the waiter disappeared with your orders, I piped up.
Okay.
So, I've got some good news. Paris may get a trip out here tomorrow. Cove nodded, turning from his father to the rest of the table. Yeah, we talked about it and figured this was a good time for everyone.
Very nice.
That's great. Everyone reacted positively to the news, but Mom looked wistful.
That's a shame.
Oh, no, and here we are having a big meal without her. If we'd waited one day, she could have joined us. Mom patted Mom on the back, gently nudging her from the realm of possibilities and what else, from thanks for the evening that was going so well. Chin up, we and Liz will still be here tomorrow. We'll just have to throw another get-together and keep the fun train chugging along. Choo-choo! Mom smiled warmly, taking Mom's hand in hers. Yeah. That's true. There's plenty to celebrate right now, but there will be more good news and good times on the horizon.
Right.
And speaking of, that's not all we've got either. Mr. Holden's eyes are alight as he sat up straight in his chair, face angled towards the sun. He barely let a beat go by before nudging Cove with his elbow, pushing him to follow up on the announcement. It's a very picture of a proud papa. Cove shied from the limelight, dragging his head down and staring at his lap as he spoke.
Well,
it's just, I've switched over to working full-time instead of only part-time. Plus, I've been looking at apartments. There's a few I can choose from. He's like to gaze up at everyone around the table, a smile creeping over his face. I'll be pretty busy going forward. Oatman. He's moving. Hope is going to move out of his dad's house. After 10 years, so he isn't going to be your neighbor anymore. Mr. Holden gripped one of Cove's shoulders and gave it a loving shake. His excitement couldn't be contained. Incredible. Cove's actually going to make it to adulthood. It's a miracle, right? Mr. Holden leaned back in his chair, staring up at the ceiling in mock wonder.
I'm so glad.
I wasn't convinced I'd be able to react it all the way to this point. Thankfully, I looked at and got the best boy a dad could have asked for. Dad. Cove blinkered his vision with his hands on the side of his face, temporarily blocking his father from sight. Look at that blush. Despite his genuine bashfulness, which left him unable to meet anyone's eyes after all the attention pressed his way, he was happy.
Thanks.
I was really lucky, too. You're a good dad.
Aww.
Come here. Mr. Holden threw an arm around Cove's neck, pulling him into it as Cove's head was receding aloud. He rubbed his cheek on the top of his son's head while Cove chuckled, accepting the affection of good humor. As the spotlight was on Cove dimmed, you decided this was a good time as any to make your own announcement. Can I share some news too? Of course.
Yeah.
Lay it on us. I got my acceptance letter today. I'll be going to college soon.
You're fantastic.
Nice, Jules.
Good job.
That's wonderful, sweetie. Ma roped you into a hug, her eyes quicker than any laugh though. You were thankful you were sat next to her. If not, you didn't doubt that she would have dived over the table to reach you in her excitement. Hey, let me in on the hug. The monks entered you in a hug, leaning from the chairs to squeeze you in tandem. Both beamed at you from across the table. Good job, Jules. You didn't hide your excitement, clapping your hands in open delight.
Serious?
That's amazing. You're going to be amazing. Mr. Holden gave you a thumbs up.
Good kid.
Impressive. You're a good kid. The world's your oyster. Cove grinned at you from across the table.
Seriously?
That's amazing. It's incredible. You did it. Congratulations, Jules. Thanks. No, seriously, this is really, really big, and you deserve it so much. You looked around at the faces of the company here. You've been on this journey with everyone here for years. You know falsehood and grain, and I've watched you go through the same. Now you're striking out on a new path. Cove was leaving his family home. Liz was heading back to college, while Lee was starting at hers. You're all heading in different directions, to different destinations, some near and some far. But it wouldn't be long until you're all going your own way. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2. It was bittersweet. Yep. You turned your head to the side, wistful, not wanting to spoil the evening with your troubles. You were glad that everyone was succeeding, but the idea of splitting up gave you a twinge of regret. These people have been key pillars in your life. Days ahead without them, no matter how bright and shiny, felt a little empty, like a theme park after closing time. One, 2, 3, 4. 4. Mine filled with greater part. He brought some attention to himself, declaring of his throat at a small interjection. I'm gonna stretch my legs while we're waiting for the food and everything. Sure thing, bud. The tiny smile he nodded at his dad. The whiteness of his expression faded when he moved to face you. Wanna come? He was attempting to be subtle, but there was very obviously something on his mind. Something he wanted to talk to you about alone. He looked up at him listlessly as he rose from his seat. I'm not sure if you felt like talking, but having a seat to get some space didn't sound like a horrible idea, so you nodded. Take care. With those fighting words to show you walked about the place, he was trying to get as far away from everyone as possible, without actually exiting the building. What did you need to say? I admitted that was what this was about, but he didn't need to.
What's wrong?
I was going to say something about all that stuff my dad brought up, but are you okay? He stared at you, and you could tell his concern was urgent. He was being distant, and he had noticed. No, I'm not alright.
That's...
Are you worried about things ending? He looked deeply into your eyes. I think his focus on her equable his iris, a concerned crinkle at his eyelids. No, I'm anxious about it too. What do you think, Cove? Her tone was harsh and upset. Cove nodded, not once looking away. I don't like that you won't be here anymore, at least not like before. I won't be able to just walk across the street and find you. I won't run to the beach with you whenever it's nice out. You won't be there to sneak up to my window at night to see me. His expression dropped. There was something horrified in his eyes and sorrow in his frown. Even when I'm not across the street anymore, you can always call or text. I don't care how late it is. We'll talk every day. I'll make sure we do. Clenched his hand around his wrist tightly. I don't want to lose what we had. Jules. His voice was quiet, barely a whisper. He paused to take you in, and then his voice came out louder, but meek. This really matters to me. A lot. More than anything else. There was still in his eyes, a rare firmness that you didn't see from Cove often. He continued to feel upset. The feelings had been dragged out, and you had no chance of calming down now. You couldn't help but feel you were losing him. Cove was leaving you.
I'm so sorry.
I didn't want to make you feel bad by bringing this up. Just, I don't know what I wanted. But I thought I had to say something about it. If not now, then when? In the corner of your eye, you noticed a nearby table of people were staring. His outburst had attracted attention. Bad venue just made things worse. You felt overwhelmed, smothered by everything going on. You couldn't handle this. You need some air. Alone. Something came, but he didn't protest when you brushed past him and left the restaurant. There was nowhere else to go but out. You stepped out onto the sidewalk. A couple cars drove by on the main street and the breeze hit your face. You took a few deep breaths now that the conversation was no longer suffocating you. You weren't quite sure what to do next. Gaining space has been the only plan. But patted your sides on reflex and pulled out the spare key for your mom's car. Walking fast, you went down the sidewalk to the part of the street where your parents had parked. Remember going past a particular building on the way into the restaurant and managed to backtrack your way to the car without incident. You unlocked the car with a shaky push of the button. The headlight flashed. You pulled open one of the back doors and tucked yourself inside. You shut the door and the car beeped when you locked it again. While putting the key away, you switched it out for your phone. There were concerned messages from your family. Were you okay? Was something happening? Another text came in for your sister at that moment. You didn't respond to any of it and held down the power button. You looked back at your phone and stared at the black blank screen. You could see part of her face reflecting back at you. Then you dropped your phone on the seat. I did not say, but this is so cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because it's a perfectly valid reaction. And I love that it's an option. Just completely still. The breathing slowed to a glacial pace, and you were paralyzed where you sat. You weren't even sure what you were waiting there for. And you tried to 1, 2, 3, 4. Distract yourself. You repositioned yourself so that you lounged across the back seat. You stared up at the car's ceiling. There was one mysterious stain on the upholstery that you couldn't remember how it got there. You stared to watch and thought it looked something like a dog. Maybe a sheep? Idle thoughts remind you of looking for shapes in the clouds as a kid. A few minutes passed by. You breathed in the quiet. The car started to get warm, but you didn't feel like turning it on to get the AC going and roll down the windows. Let's go this one. Let's text our family. You took the phone from the cushion and pushed the power button. It took a minute to boot up. There were plenty of additional messages. You set out some quick messages so they knew you were all right. That was that. After a few minutes, you heard a tapping sound. You lifted your head up and your eyes met with your big sister's. She stared right back at you and raised an eyebrow. I hadn't expected her. Someone would come looking. She smushed her forward to the window, mouthing something and pointing down into the car. You wanted in. It wasn't exactly what you had in mind when you told them where you were. But whether or not you wanted her in was made a moot point when she then jingled the set of keys on the other side of the glass. This wasn't asking. She was informing. Sounds about right. You felt lower in the back seat. Let's walk around the car to the driver's side. Where she thought to bring those. Slowly, deliberately, lifted the spot ahead of the car and shot herself inside with you. She put both hands on the steering wheel. You could see part of her expression in the rearview mirror. She was thinking. Eventually, she twisted around so she could actually face you. She smiled thinly and leaned forward. What's going on? She didn't leave you time to answer. Her smile turned teasing. Did Cove reject your proposal to truly reunite our families? You stopped. Yeah, right. You rolled your eyes to further express your opinion.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. She waved her hands and appeared actually apologetic. No one knows how awkward she was. It's a different look on your sister. She filled her face with a more neutral expression. I'll be serious. Since we know that's it, you're going to tell me what it is, or should I keep guessing? She said those words if they were a threat. You can't say it's nothing either. We wouldn't be out here in a hot car if you were fine. You drummed your fingers on the cushion below you. From the determination on your sister's face, you knew there was no getting out of this. Well, the teacher desk what wasn't bothering you. Everything was changing and you couldn't stop it. It's not just Cove who's leaving. This isn't ending. My life is changing and I can't help but freak out a little. I had to deal with him just Some reminder that I don't know if it will still be okay after this. Liz comes and gave a nod. She smiled with understanding. Well, that was my second guess. Really? Was it really? Although, Liz has been through this herself, so it wouldn't be surprising if she hadn't felt that way herself. Sorry at that reaction to her distress. Hey, it makes sense. I felt like that too. See? A couple of years ago. It hasn't been that long since I was in your shoes. She absentmindedly brushed some hair out of her face with a thoughtful expression. Sometimes I still feel like that. It's not like I've forgotten what it was like living at home with you and her mom, spending days with high school friends. I miss what we had then. She laughed at it, a short, sharp start. I know, I didn't always show my appreciation, but still, it wasn't that bad. You don't have to forget this time either. But knowing you've lost the way things were doesn't mean you can't be happy again. That can still be just as good as it was now. In fact, it can be even better. Thanks for coming out here. I think I needed someone. Of course, what else am I supposed to do? Tease me? I don't know, but do you wish you were 8 years old right now? Is that the ideal life for you, worth giving up everything that came after? Not really.
Good.
Exactly. And later on, you feel the same way about being 18. It's great when it happens, but being like that forever wouldn't be. She turned away and started to fidget with her hair. She clicked at the ends, seemingly a small knot. She kept her eyes on her hands. You know you can do things on your own when you want to, but you've still got a family to fall back on. She looked up to meet your gaze again. You saw not only her seriousness, but also a rare softness. You were touched at her sincerity. And I didn't elect to make that statement on my own. Raised an eyebrow and she shrugged. It's not about a sibling prophecy for the past. It's not like I'm the only one who cared about how you were doing. She just ran to the right and took precision so you could see what she meant. Out the window, couple 3 Moms standing outside. Ma smiled at you and Mom waved. They started to head closer to the car. Ma opened the door and they both squeezed into the back with you. They had to scoop up their phone and sit up so they could sit. You ended up with your back to the car door, Ma sandwiched in the middle and Mom on the other side. Ma reached over to pat you on the head, and Mom stepped forward so she could see you clearly from her long mouth.
You alright with that?
Is there room for one more? Searched around, but didn't see anybody. You stared at them in confusion and moved cackled. Mom threw you a bone and gave you a significant glance behind you. She twisted her head around and jumped. You had her face pressed to the window directly behind you. She smirked and then giggled at your shocked reaction. I knew it was Lee. You were taken aback, but managed to grin at her. You scooted further down the seat, almost sitting on Mom's lap, to give Lee some space. She flung the door open wide and then attacked you with a squishing hug. You laughed when Ma hugged you from the other side. You were trapped in the warmest hug you could ever remember.
Sweetie.
Jules, you are my wonderful child, and you will always have a home no matter what you decide to do, or where you might end up going. You became hyper-aware of a feeling in your chest. It wasn't just from being crushed in a hug, either. I'm getting teary-eyed here. This is so sweet.
Hey.
Also, you can only stay with your cousin if you don't want to have to crash with your parents. I take offense to that. Mom joked. Her eyes sparkled as she continued. What's wrong with visiting the old folks? Jules at least has to come home for the holidays. But what do we do without them? They snored and you stayed caught in the hug. We squeezed you tighter. Okay, we're definitely going with the tearing up because I'm tearing up. You were surrounded by his love. It was unconditional and freely offered. You felt somewhat silly. Yes, there was a lot changing, but there was no way this was going to disappear. Your family loved you and wanted to be there for you. You just had to listen. I never realized how good the backseat was. You do have 4 people in the backseat when it should be 3. Everyone laughed. This auto really was not built for 4 people. As comforting as your embrace was, you were completely crushed. See, this is why I was smart and took the front. I bet you were wondering why I did that before. Now it's crystal clear. So stretched your arms out, showing off all her free space. Mom scoffed. You could feel her bounce in her seat. Hardly, you're just missing all the fun. You look lonely up there. Mom chuckled as stretched to the small opening between the front and back. She made a grab for her lip as she dodged and shrieked. Ma! I didn't want you to be left out, sweetheart. Rose crossed her arms and met her with an unimpressed stare. Lee was snickering. Liz ignored her and then raised out a hand to very deliberately pat you on the knee.
Jeez.
There. Jeez. Mom let out a glowing smile and patted Liz's arm back. Now that the hug really was a whole family affair. There. Finally you felt better, and you let them know you were ready to go back to the restaurant. You were released from the hug sandwich, and everyone piled out of the car. I can't imagine how hot and sweaty that must have been. Back towards the restaurant, the two Holdens stood together. Cove was particularly awkward as he fiddled with something in his hand. Lee whispered into your ear. Cove was out there the whole time. I think he just didn't want to interrupt us. Now his dad came, too.
How sweet.
Aren't they polite? Such gentlemen. True, but the better not have lost their table. Ma reached around to poke her in his head. It was jumped, even though you knew monk folks were pretty mild.
Josh?
Don't say that. Whether we have the table or not doesn't really matter. What matters is that we're all together and safe and happy. Here, laddie. Mom cheered her on and waved her fists with enthusiasm. Liz sighed and rolled her eyes. The girls still gotta eat. Lee skipped up and hooked an arm around you. Your cousin offered you a beaming smile.
All
We're
right.
not gonna know until we get there, so let's get going. Yeah, let's go. Your full group headed back into the restaurant. Luckily, your table was still reserved for you. You weren't exactly sure what Cove's dad had told the staff, but whatever his explanation's been, everything had worked out. You sat back down and were able to pick up the meal from where you'd left it off, now with much lighter spirits. Night fell soon after everyone finished their meal, and before you knew it, you were standing in the parking lot saying your goodbyes and packing up the cars to go home. After the last of the chores were done, your family spent some more time together. You did have some extra time and decided to... One, two, three, four. 3. You're going to check in with Shiloh. You thought of Shiloh both as a central figure in your early childhood and as a person you come to know since then. You set up his number on your phone. You picked it up within a few rings. Hey, Jules. His voice was as peppy as ever. He wondered if everyone who calls up at such an excitable greeting. Hey, Shiloh.
This is so
Great.
great.
It's great to hear from you. I hope you're doing okay. Here's his voice again, turning the statement into a question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Three. Pretty tired.
Aw.
I really appreciate you keeping in touch like this. You must be so busy now. Oh, before I forget, my mom says hi. She still said that she wasn't able to see the Hunt family herself. So I said hi back. You touched that she remembered you. Yeah. You could hear the soft smile in his voice, even if you couldn't see it. He was mostly just happy that I got to have a little reunion with you all, and it went pretty well in the end. He laughed again, firmly closing the lid on that discussion.
Yeah.
Anyway, you, your family, and Cove are always welcome to come visit us here. That'd be fun. With everything that was going on, it was highly unlikely that you'd be able to accept the invitation. Shadow knew that. It was probably just being nice, as he preferred to do. But as a thought, we could meet that group of yours. He grinned, imagining Shiloh with his posse of unfriendables.
Great.
Awesome. Let me know if you're ever in the area. His voice was upbeat, almost as if he'd been energized by the idea and your openness to it. Well, I shouldn't take up too much of your time. Thanks for reaching out, though. Take care. Shadow chuckled briefly. Bye. He hung up, feeling pleased that you could simply talk to Shadow like this. It's sweet to hear a little from his mom, too, even if the message was secondhand. The rest of the night felt like it was going by in a blink of an eye, and somehow the time came to retire to your room to sleep. You pulled your covers up under your chin and settled down for the night, getting warm and cozy. As your head sunk into your pillow and you closed your eyes, your mind drifted back to everything that had happened that day. You could see it all now behind your eyelids, though you were experiencing it all over again. And then the image of Cove popped into your head and you smiled softly to yourself. This option, sneaking to his room, is really fun if you're romancing him. I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. We're gonna do it. We're gonna sneak over to this room. Hope could do it, then you didn't see why you shouldn't be allowed to. You made up your mind. Finally, as you could manage, you put on your shoes and slipped out of your room, closing the door behind you softly. Heading slowly down, you took care not to make the floor creak, especially the boards right by the bathroom. Those definitely squeaked. Yeah, the way our house is designed, the floors don't creak or squeak, but the doors do. I can always tell when my sibling has opened their door. It makes a very distinct sound. And my cat can tell, too. He loves to go running down the hall and into my sibling's room. The stillness of the night made even the slightest sound seem so much louder to your ears, and you were very aware of your mom sleeping nearby. Upon reaching the bottom, you tiptoed towards the front door. Slipping out into the crisp night air, you shut the door and took a relieving breath. Suddenly rising, you dashed across the street towards Cove's house. The road, too, was surreal at this hour, familiar and yet strange. It might have been eerie at another time, but with how eager you were, you hardly cared. You attempted to climb away from the normal footpath to the side of the condo, but the limited light was making it difficult. You knew for sure which window was closed. Lucky for you, it was on the first floor. Unlike Cove, you wouldn't have to do any building scaling. All you needed to do now was make it safely over the fence and past the bushes without being caught or injured. Sneaking closer, you glanced over the hedge towards Cove's bedroom window, finding it cracked open. Perfect. You wouldn't have to knock to worry about him not answering, as if he wouldn't answer. It took some effort, but eventually you managed to clumsily push yourself up over the fence. You slipped a little at the end and snagged your sleeve on a branch in the shrubbery, but you brushed it off quickly and darted over to the window. You buzzed with a nervous excitement as you approached it in the dark. You successfully made it all the way here unseen. Lifting the window up so it was fully open, you pushed yourself halfway through, your legs dangling into the underbrush below. It was a little awkward as a small shelf was right in the way. You had to take care not to knock over a couple of plants, but you made it through with minimal noise. Once safely inside, you dusted yourself off and turned back to close the window gently. Only the soft glow of moonlight and Cove's fish tank stared to see the way. You have a small way to a special fish you got to name, Dash. Then, straining your eyes through the dark, you got towards Cove's bed, barely making out the sleeping figure beneath the covers. By the sound of his soft breathing, you could tell that he hadn't heard you come in, and a small smile tugged at your lips. Sat down on top of him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whispered his name. Cove? You figured he must be on a deep sleep, but he continued snoozing away, plus as soon as you noticed besides there, he tried again. Cove, wake up. This time he sleepily blinked his eyes and mumbled something incoherent beneath his breath. Hey, I wanted to come over. Is that all right? He let out a yawn and leaned towards you, waking up just enough to understand the question, but not the full context. A faint smile appeared on his face. What? Yeah, I want you here. You snickered quietly to yourself as he sat there. He could figure it out on his own, and after a few more seconds, he did. Wait, Jules? Yes, I'm here. He shuffled under the covers and sat to stare at you in alarm.
What?
Why are you in my room? What happened? The smile slipped onto your face as he finally registered your presence for real. What's hugging? Leaning forward, you wrapped your arms around Cove, feeling his breeze for a brief moment. When you relaxed and hugged you back softly, you let out a small sigh.
It's okay.
It doesn't really matter why you came. It's okay. You held him for a little while longer, laying his head relaxed you, so you pulled back and lifted him gently. I should have known you'd do this one of these days. It's only fair. You let out a breath, feeling relieved, but he didn't seem bothered by it. In fact, it felt kind of good. He felt maybe his enthusiasm was why Cove did it so often. He pushed himself up slowly, swinging his legs over the side of the bed and leaving a spot for you beside him. You can stay as long as you want. Really? Yeah, really. How long do you want me to stay?
I don't know.
To be honest, I don't know. I don't feel like having to go at all. I'm not sure when I would. Okay, I won't go anywhere. His face lit up as he settled in even more. Yeah, if you do this with your romance, then you can have a bit of a make-out session. Secretly slept over in your room before. I'm sure you get to do it too. He snickered, feeling pleased with your decision to do this. One, two, three, four. When? Well, it looks like you're going to be getting the floor yet again.
I guess.
Yes, so. Fine. Cove rubbed at his eyes and stopped with a yawn, stretching his arms above his head.
Well,
You could start putting down something to sleep on. I'll help you. He gave you a grateful smile, and the two of you gathered up a few spare pillows and blankets and set them upon the floor. When you had arranged them enough to be comfortable to sleep on, Cove hummed happily. Thanks, Jules. This is perfect. Then the two of you got under your own covers, laughing before remembering you should be keeping the noise down. Your neighbor looked up at you happily from his little nest of blankets on the floor. He was honestly content. The night stretched on and off, and you continued giggling and chatting, dreaming up absolutely everything except this room and each other. Slept the light again, like you were 8 instead of 18. The only big decisions you had to make were what you're going to have for breakfast in the morning. Then the eyes began to grow heavy, and the conversation slowly kept going in as you both fell into a restful sleep. The next morning you were lost in a comfortable dream. With a loud noise started to awake and your eyes were open, blindly searching for the source of the sound. With the door opening abruptly, and in the frame stood Mr. Holden, shining brightly. He didn't pay attention to notice you straight away. Get your butt out of bed, sport. Mom's here. Oh. It's definitely very hilarious when you're romance Cove and this happens. All of a sudden, the two of you made eye contact, and of course where he stood, the smile slowly slipping from his face. Well, this is not what I usually walk into. I really should have knocked this morning. I picked this one, and his response was so hilarious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4. Good morning, Mr. Holden. Good morning, Joel. Cove blinked his eyes tiredly and mumbled something incoherent before turning towards the door. The you and Mr. Holden stared at him for a few moments, neither knowing what to say or do. Cove, who continued looking at his dad dozily, was obviously having a hard time trying to process his situation. Then his eyes widened. Dad? Cove struggled to get to his feet, tossed his covers aside as he pushed himself up. Unfortunately, in his attempt, his blanket slipped on the hardwood floor and he went flying backwards. With the thump, he hit his head on the floor. Ow! He fell back down on his pillow, pressing his hand to his head and groaning loudly. Oh! He reached out towards him instinctively. Oh, bud, are you alright over there? Mr. Holden stepped further into the room, his eyebrows furrowed in concern, and he bent down towards his son. Yes, please, just go. Okay, I'll leave. He held his hands in front of him in a calming gesture, even though Cove couldn't see it. I was waiting. With that, he stepped back out of the room, giving the two of you one last look before pulling the door shut behind him. Yeah, basically, as you say, yeah, oh great, Cove gets away with sneaking into my room all the time, but the one time I do it, I get caught. And Mr. Holden's like, I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. Cove rubbed at his face before dropping his head onto his hands and mumbling between his fingers.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. That was so awkward. Tell me about it. The heavy sigh, Cove forced himself to sit up again. His round heart stared over at the closed door. Sorry. Guess we can't just hide in here now. He gave a sidelong glance, and despite his displeasure at the situation, a small smile corked his lips.
It's nice.
Too bad. It had been really nice. Too bad is right. I hope we'll get the chance to do this again soon. Found yourself smiling along with him. You took a few minutes to get up properly and get yourself as ready as possible, so put glasses back on before heading out to see Kyra. Kyra was waiting patiently in the living room. She was in high spirits, with her eyes set on the hallway. Her new smile only widened when he and Cove froze. It didn't take long for the realization to sink in that the scene must have been loud enough for her to hear even from there. Cove tried to look unimpressed, eyes narrowing over Kyra's smug delight. Oh, his face was already turned red, and his mom hadn't even said anything yet. He squared his shoulders, lifted his head, and strode forward.
Hey.
Hi, Mom. Hi, baby. And hello to you too, Jules. Her tone cracked in her greeting, and she just gave in and laughed, unable to keep any of it in. Joel frowned at that, and his eyebrows furrowed. Sorry for the interruption. I didn't know you already had guests. His frown wobbled as he became even more embarrassed by this moment. He couldn't much up any words to defend himself. Well, it's not like anyone was surprised by this. Kyra laughed even harder this time. As he spoke, she brought up a hand to cover her mouth, but he left his still see her shoulders shake. Cove still looked mortified, but he shut you a stern look. All he could do was smile. Cove was still unable to say anything, other than his teeth biting to the inside of his cheek, stood there frozen. Kyra studied you both for a moment.
It's all right.
It's okay. Mine not so well mister spreading his wings. I can't complain about that. She lightly tapped the tip of his nose. That got a tiny smile on Cove. Despite being much taller than Kyra at this point, he still seemed like a little kid in front of her. You realized you were holding in your lunch, and then Kyra's gaze locked onto you. You know, we were just about to go over to see Pam and Noelle. Are you two coming? I'll go. He stretched his arms for a moment and yawned, trying to physically shake off what happened.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
that sounds good.
Great.
Let's do it. It was then you noticed Mr. Holden standing on the other side of the room. He must have been trying to create some space for everyone during this last conversation. You could tell he felt a bit awkward, but he tried smiling reassuringly as he scratched the back of his neck. His attention went to Cove. But do you want to get changed first? Cove looked down at his pajamas for a moment. He shook his head. No, we don't have to wait for that. Are you sure? It's only a trip across the street.
Don't worry about it.
I'm alright. Besides, Jules is going in pajamas too. Fair point. Cove then leaned in close to you. He grumbled quietly. Your moms are going to figure out what happened anyway, so... Yeah.
Come on.
Away we go. With that decided, the four of you headed out across the street to your house. It felt strange waiting there while Mr. Holden knocked on the door.
Hello.
Hey there. Mom answered the door, and her expression brightened even more seeing Kyra there. She moved to pull Kyra into a hug while her gaze fell on you. Jules? Hi, Mom.
Huh?
When did you get out there? Why are you still in your pajamas? Mom's eyebrows raised as she gave you a deep, examining stare. Meanwhile, you and Cove shared a slow side glance with each other. Before you could answer, more heads popped into view around the doorway. Miles, Liz, and Lee were all chuckling. To be honest, I always assumed Cove had been the one sneaking around. Her eyes sparkled with his amusement, and he had to look away. You noticed Cove's face was burning red again. It was a solid theory, Lenny. Most likely they've both been breaking and entering. I wouldn't put it past my baby. He did after his parents.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I can't believe my Jules has been getting up to all that mischief, too. Mortified Cove looked like he wanted to disappear while the adults chuckled and discussed what you and him may or may not have done. Fortunately, they left the conversation there. Enough of standing around up there. Come on in. Mom moved aside, touched with the group in, and guided them to the living room. Before anyone could get settled, Mom spoke up. You're all welcome to stay for breakfast. We have some great spices and stuff from the farmer's market.
Of course.
Yes, we'd be thrilled to host you. There were eager nods from Mr. Holden and Kyra, but Cove looked around the room filled with familiar faces before speaking up. Excuse me. Maybe instead of staying here, why don't we go to the beach? A scenic picnic, eh? Mr. Holden crossed his arms and contemplated that idea happily. Excited, Kyra clapped her hands together.
Yeah.
Oh, we could really make a day out of it. Might as well enjoy the ocean while we can. That sounds lovely, Cove. Everyone else put in their own agreement with Cove's suggestion. Before long, both families dispersed, getting everything ready. Sandwiches had to be made, water, sunscreen, towels, and more needed to be gathered and packed. Thus, you and Cove both took content to get dressed for the day. We're going to bring that lemonade. Today felt sufficiently special to bust it out. An hour later, both your family and Cove's were walking down the old path to the beach. The morning was already turning into a bright and beautiful day. You honestly couldn't ask for better weather for a beach trip. The moment you laid your eyes on the full view of the ocean, you stopped and stood there mesmerized. It didn't matter that you grew up there. The sight always filled you with wonder. Hey, Jules?
So?
I'm thinking about calling Terry and Miranda. See if they can come too. Their house is pretty much already here, so would your family mind? That'd be cool. I'll ask them. You were already so excited at the prospect of seeing your friends today that you immediately darted away in the direction your mom went. Behind you, you could hear the familiar sound of Cove laughing. I have a question. Would it be alright if Terry and Miranda came by? I don't see why not. I looked to Mom to see what she thought, and she nodded in agreement. Mom then shot a glance over at Mr. Holden and Kyra, knowing that they had likely heard everything.
You alright with that?
Yeah, Kyra, what do you think? The more the merrier.
Okay.
Of course, you're welcome with me. Thanks. Glad you nodded and turned back on your heels. Cove was still several feet away, talking with Leah and Liz likely about the same topic. The Phoenix finally gave them a thumbs up, and the two of them must have also approved. Cove quickly got his phone out and started making the call. That you turn your attention to helping with the picnic setup. Unexpectedly, your phone started ringing. Dug it out, curious to see the caller ID. Feeling your heart jump with excitement, you answered. It was Derek. Hey, it's been a while. Seriously, but what's up? The voice that came through was much deeper than it had been when you were first met, but it still had the exact same amount of enthusiasm as care. Have you been enjoying these crazy summer days? We're gonna pick this just to leave that option open for the Derek DLC. I would have enjoyed them more if you'd been there. He sighed deeply into the phone. He frowned, trying to imagine how the summer would have gone if things were different with him. Sorry, but if it helps, I was thinking the exact same thing about you. It's just been sucks, huh? Yeah. What about you? How's your summer been? You're beyond curious to know what Derek has been up to since Black Honey stuff. He chuckled, noticing your invested tone. Honestly, I've just been slammed with stuff lately. College applications and scholarship inquiries. What else is new? What else is new? Well, I bet you're even more toned now, you flirted. Faintly you heard a slight hitch in his breathing. He smirked. You're right about that one. I hope you can see it in person sometime. I've seen pictures of him for the next step, and oh boy. He spoke so softly it was like he was whispering it to you. There was no stopping the grin that grew on your face. You could only hope no one asked what was so interesting. I hope so too. What about your family? Are your brothers being good? My little brothers are little punks, but I guess they're doing alright. Phil laughed at that. It was easy to imagine the grin on his face. Mom and Dad are fine. That's great. My moms are too. Turn your attention back to your surroundings. You smiled warmly at your family buzzing around. Towels were laid out and chairs and umbrellas were being set up. Actually, I'm not with my mom's right now. Liz and me are here visiting too. Oh, that's fun, but if that's the deal, I'll let you get back to it. Are you sure? I don't mind. I'm sure. I'm not about to lose your number. Okay, bye. Bye, Jules. Have a heck of a day. Hanging up, the conversation left you energized and in good spirits. It's exactly what you need to make this day even better. You hurried over to your mom's and helped put the rest of the food out, and Mom recognized Cove at your side. So what did they say? They're gonna come. Cool. Thanks for calling in.
No problem.
No problem. I'm glad I thought of it. They'll meet us here later today. Shouldn't be too long. I can't wait. While on the topic of inviting people to join you, you realized there was someone else you could call as well. You've gotten Baxter's number earlier that summer. In my off-stream playthrough, I didn't do this, but we are going to invite him. Everyone else is going to be there. You didn't want him to be left out. You sent him a text and hoped he'd show. After that, you made sure to mention what you'd done. No one seemed to mind. Once the setup was done, everyone got comfortable and dug into the food. You remember the last time breakfast tasted this good, but you attributed it to the gorgeous ocean view and soothing sea breeze. Morning swiftly gave way to afternoon, and a very recognizable face came walking down to the shore. It was Baxter. He came. He pleasantly approached with a wave.
Hello.
Hello there. I appreciate the invite to the party. Of course, you're welcome with us. We've got plenty of towels and food and sunscreen. Yep, I would need sunscreen. I am very pale. Yeah, you're one of the neighbors. Kick back and relax with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Baxter's gaze moved over to you and Cove. He smiled. So, long time no see. Hi. You went from where you literally sat, and Cove nodded. I'm glad you decided to come. So am I. We meet again! Yes, lucky for me. Few giggles escaped Lee as she watched Baxter. You found that Baxter noticed a face he didn't immediately recognize from around the neighborhood. He turned up his charm even more for the introduction. Excuse me, I'm Baxter Ward. I'm sorry we haven't met before. Well, I'm not typically from around this area, just visiting. I'm Cove's mom. Oh, I remember that. It's very nice to meet you. After that, Baxter spent some time getting better acquainted with everyone, and Terry and Miranda arrived excitedly. The conversation shifted from what you all would do next.
In that case,
We could do a few rounds of volleyball. There's plenty of us now.
Is that all right?
Could I play? Of course. Miranda brightened, delighted with this plan. Ma looked around to see if there were any other takers. I don't feel like playing. I'd have to change, but it'd be fun to watch. I could do the rest. My eyes don't miss a thing. Volleyball's a good idea, but there should probably be something happening for those who aren't a fan. Yeah, that's a good idea. Personally, I'm not very good at volleyball. But, I mean, maybe. Ooh, I have some crafting supplies we can use to make jewelry. Excuse me, we could even use stuff we find around the beach to accentuate them.
Really?
What? Really? I want to make a necklace.
That'd be
I'd
great.
be interested in trying my hand at that too. I could do that. Nice.
Absolutely.
Impromptu crafting is my kind of party. I'd like to join too, please. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. We're gonna play volleyball. To play volleyball. She looked at Ma, ready to jump into a competitive mode. She looked thrilled to have you on board. Sarah got up from the couch with a thing on. She brushed some sand off her legs and then stretched her arms over her head.
Can do.
I'm up for a few rounds. Now that plans are settled, the group temporarily spent too.
Anyway.
Alright, sports players, you're gonna have to pick partners and then it's game on. Sheldon looked around for you to deliberate and turned his attention to drawing makeshift court in sand.
Well,
back over to you and hook her arm around your wrist. You laughed. I want to be on Jules' team. Alright, it'll be Ma and me. That was Miranda to partner up with Kyra. She nodded for me. Let's have fun. When Mr. Holden finished drawing the court, he went and fetched the volleyballs and the various other supplies you go up around here. Sounds like we have our teams all set, right?
yeah.
Yes. Good. Now, back to your side. Before you situate yourself on one side or the other of the court with your partner. Mr. Holden talked about tomorrow.
Do you mind?
This was all Noelani's idea. I think it's fair she gets to serve first. Thank you, Cliff.
Yeah.
Woo, Mash! On whose side? Go, Jules! Make them eat sand! You kicked the small heap of sand out of your way on the simple court, making her laugh. You turned back towards Mom. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. Good luck, Ma. Good luck to you too, but I don't think we're going to need it. Ma flashed you a playful grin and punched a fist into the palm of her other hand. You were very amused at her show of confidence. That Ma got into position and delivered a practice for serve. The game began. In the battle of the volleyball, both teams scored points. There wasn't a set amount of ways to end things, so it was back and forth as long as everyone wanted to play. And the game went on for quite a while as everyone got into it, especially with the cheers and added commentary. This and Mr. Holden made the whole game better with their humor and wit. From a distance, the jewelry-making group would also cheer when they heard shouts coming out of the court. On top of that, they would hold up each newly made piece in the air, and the players would take a better breather to applaud the creation. It wasn't until all of you were exhausted from the running, spiking, and diving that a truce was called. You enjoyed every moment of it. Duncan and continued to drift by, but the fun was still going strong. However thrilled when you pulled out the drink you had been saving, and then announced to him that you wanted to savor it. That was worth the tears and smiles your family gave. Occasionally, someone would head back into the houses to use the bathroom, rest away from the sun a while, or to retrieve something that they needed, but they always came back. The beach was never empty, and there was always a new conversation to take part in, or another game to join. At one point, Mr. Holden even broke out his pack of cards. He wrote the whole group into a few rounds of good old Go Fish. There's only one thing that could bring this beach day to an end, and that was the day itself to end, before anyone realized that the sun began to set over the sea. As that happened, you were taking a break, sitting on a towel with your legs stretched out past it, your feet buried in the warm sand. Shortly, you looked up to see your mom approaching. She stopped in front of you, and you smiled. Hey there, kiddo.
How are you?
How are you doing? I'm doing really good. How about you? We're wonderful. They both sat down, squishing in between them. Mom leaned her head against yours and one side rubbing her back soothingly. Nothing more was said at first, but Mom sighed contentedly, and Mom looked at you wistfully. We're both really proud of you, Jules.
True.
You're up to be more than we ever could have hoped. One, two, three, four. Good. Thank you. You were touched by their words, and your voice came out in a whisper. Mom chuckled and lightly brushed a bit of your hair.
Thank you.
That's not something you need to thank us for. But still, I wouldn't be here without either of you. Mom wrapped an arm around her middle and squeezed you tightly at a side hug. Glancing at Mom, you saw how teary-eyed she became. She sniffled. Stay there quietly and contently, watching the sunset with your parents for a while. And from the shoulder called out to you. They're still walking in your direction. We were talking and we think we're going to take a walk down the shore, and who wants to come? Automatically, you looked to your moms for what they were thinking. Mom glanced from you to Mom and smiled. That sounds good to me.
That's fantastic.
Yes, that'd be very nice. My legs need some stretching. Let's go. Thrilled, Mr. Holden threaded a thumbs up and began heading back to the way he came in a light jog. Hey, don't leave us in the dust. Cliff kept going forward, but flipped around, walking backwards across the sand so he could face you again.
No worries.
We wouldn't leave without you. All right, we'll catch up. Ready to go? Uh-huh. Both of your moms held a hand out to you, checked when you gave them each one, and you all spoke back to the rest of the group. When Liz was in reach, Ma used her free hand to pull her into it, too. Liz shook her head, but her mouth worked to a smirk, and she didn't resist. Together as a family, you followed behind the others, hand in hand. The beach cushions of wet sand, the waves rolled over them, and you didn't have a single care in the world, as more and more stars began to dot the sky. Once the sun had long been out of sight, it was finally time to pack up. The closing of the day and the ever-approaching end of summer seemed to intertwine. It caused a quiet, reflective mood to blanket over the group. On the beach, Terry and Miranda took turns compressing Cove in a hug, before moving on to do the same to you. You chuckled, still overjoyed they got to see them today. I'm sorry you have to go already. My parents are here. That's okay. But still, I wish we could help clear this all up. Don't worry about it. Just thanks for coming out today. It was cool having everyone here.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I'm super glad we came. Hopefully we can do it again sometime. Nodding, you turned your attention to Terry. She wore a large grin on her face and held out a hand for a low five. No oblige.
See you later.
Take care of yourselves, buddies. Hang on. What's the name? Okay. After that, they walked away, waving to you and Cove as they went down the shore. Cove waved quietly back with a small smile on his face. One, two, three, four. You waved too. Yeah, I rolled a one. It was a big wave. You hoped Miranda was right, and there would be another day like this soon. Taking you by surprise, Sarah jumped and twisted around. She kept up with Miranda by walking backwards. She got to move your car well light by shooting the sphinx grounds at you and Cove. Miranda bumped her with a hit, but left everyone with a laugh just before they disappeared down the bend. Jules?
Come on.
Hey, Cove, can you come here? Both of your parents were motioning for you. The two of you went to them. Tons of things ended up at the beach over the course of the day, so there was still so much to back up, and the parents needed help. Yep. With a nod, you got to it, stuffing various things into bags and bundling them up in towels. Yeah, my family can't do something like that, because we're not close enough to a beach. We're not in walking distance of a beach. We couldn't afford it. Once things were ready to go, everyone filled their arms with as much as they could carry. Absolutely no one wanted this to be a back-and-forth kind of task. They walked back home, and it being mostly quiet. Each person can be feeling the effects of the day. The breeze carried you across the sand and onto the road. There was a sigh of relief from what felt like the group as a whole when they arrived back to the neighborhood. Baxter carefully placed what he had been carrying on the ground. Thank you so much for helping with that.
Thanks.
No, thank you for allowing me to join you today. You all share with me, helping to carry it back to the least I can do. Mom nodded and the others started collecting their things from his file. Baxter, meanwhile, stepped over to you and Cove. It really was a pleasure getting to know you both this summer. Ted took towards you and he smiled warmly. Baxter offered you his hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where is it? There it is. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slash 0. 1. Use your freer hand to take it. It is so difficult your turn, but you were able to extend one of your hands a bit. Extra chuckled and shook it. My nose itch. Let's go with this. I think we did end up at good.
Glad to hear it.
I wholeheartedly agree, Jules. I enjoyed this vacation immensely, thanks to you. I actually turned to shake Cove's hand this time. He was a little incredulous for a moment, then Cove eventually shifted what he was carrying and took Baxter's hand. It was long, but it was a solid handshake. Baxter was clearly pleased. I wish we had more time together, but it was still a nice ride while it lasted. Would happily do it all over again. Bye, Baxter. Yeah, bye. Baxter nodded and walked a few steps towards his condo. He then stopped and waved.
Goodbye.
Stupid nose. Baxter sauntered away completely and disappeared inside the condo to return to his own things, his time with you and your family and friends ending. He paused for a moment, staring at where he went. But afterwards, he looked back over at the rest of the group. The and Liz were just going inside your house. You couldn't spot Kyra or Mr. Holden anywhere, but the door to their house was wide open. Mom approached you with a new look on her face. Seems like you were holding up some Holden things. Surprised, you glanced down to take a quick inventory of what you were holding. Mom was right. Some of it belonged to the neighbors. Would you mind dropping it off now? Can do. It's not a problem. Thank you very much. Cove took a few steps towards his house and stopped, waiting for you.
Good night.
Good night, Cove. I'll see you inside, Jules. Night. You caught up to Cove, and together you went over to his house. Watching the front door, you saw Kyra and Mr. Holden busily unpacking already. Things were scattered on counters, and they were moving around each other, putting the items away. They both lifted their heads when Cove closed the front door. Hey. Nice seeing you again already, Jules. Her teasing tone brought a light smile to your face. You had to just step in your eyes a little closer. I ended up with some things of yours from the beach.
Oh.
Thanks for getting that to us. You can put it here on that coffee table. Mr. Holden pointed at the surface he was referring to and immediately left what didn't belong to his family there. He put his own things down on the floor just in his feet, waiting for everything to be about to reach his parents. Putting your family stuff on the ground for a moment, you dusted your hands off and straightened up. You needed a second of rest and a minute to situate it all. Went over to where the others were too. Kyra opened her arms wide, wanting to hug you. Oh, absolutely. Happily, you went to her, she held on tightly. Over the years, you were able to form a good rapport with her, and you were grateful for that. You could feel it in her head how much Kyra had grown to care about you. It brought an affectionate smile to your face. See, this is part of the reason I wanted to do the friendship with Cove here. Because I wanted to see how they wrote things, and honestly, there isn't much difference if you're close to Cove. His parents still love you and adore you. And they tease you by your friendship with Cove, but they obviously wholeheartedly approve of it, and I like that. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It was a blast. It's no problem. I had fun too. Excuse me. I best to release you, but tied the tops of your shoulders as final gesture.
Thank you.
Every time I've gotten to come by, it's been an absolute joy. Things really couldn't have worked out better. Mr. Holden took a step closer to you. Kyra moved aside to let him say goodbye too. He grinned. Thanks for always being such a friendly neighbor, and not just right now. For as long as I've known you, I didn't always make it easy, but you and your family are good people. I really, truly appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
Thanks again, Jules. So much. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. One. I'm really glad that you're my neighbor. Mr. Holden's brows furrowed with emotion. Your words really did touch him. Me too. Mr. Holden was staring at you, but facing far away. Maybe he was looking back at who you used to be. The 8-year-old he had asked to be his son's new friend.
See you.
Bye, Jules. He smiled softly. Then Cove took a step forward, gestured to his pile of things that he had carried into the house.
Don't worry about it.
I'll put stuff away in a few minutes. Right, I need to go do the same with my family. I figured. So walked you to the door and held it open. Taking one last check around to make sure you had all your things to bring home, went into the road. He leaned his body against the doorframe, not following you out. So, this is it, huh? Actually, that's what I mean. He was rushing to his head and shook his head a bit, like he was trying to banish his sense of thoughts.
Bye.
I'll just say bye. Bye. I'll see you soon. Your mouth pulled into a soft smile, and you weren't sure who you were trying to reassure more. Excuse me. Cove reached forward and patted your arm reassuringly. Then he kept his hand there, lightly holding onto your arm. He nodded. One of his hands grabbed onto the door handle and firmly held it. He stopped himself from carrying along with you. As you walked over to your own front door, he stopped. Turning around, you spotted Cove right where you left it, left quietly to yourself. For a small pause, you both stared at each other from across the street. One, two, three, four. Two. Boom the kiss. Let's go with waiting though. So we're back with his whole arm. Boom the kiss has more than you do if you were actually in a relationship. Night. Things couldn't be dragged out any longer. After one more shared smile, you opened the door and went inside, shutting it behind you. You stepped in and saw your family gathered in the living room. They were still busy unpacking and cleaning. You added the things you brought to the pile on the kitchen counter. Anne stood up, rubbing her eyes a bit. She yawned mildly. I'm bushed. How about we finish the rest of the chores tomorrow? Yes, honestly, it's too late for this.
Thanks.
Please and thank you. Ma put her hands on her hips and turned to assess the room. Ma was not one who liked to leave a mess on the about, but she sighed.
All right.
I suppose we can make an exception to the usual rule. It has been a really long day. Let's bring contently. We wish at that time skipping over to you and hooked you into a side hug. Good night. I hope you have the loveliest of dreams. Hug her back. Hold her close to a bear hug. Leave you go into your release her. I hope you sleep well too. Oh, I totally will. The moment my head hits the pillow, I'll be out. I've had nights like that. Just so pooped that once I'm finally in bed, dead to the world. Here's to us, Jules. Tonight, tomorrow, and forever. Yeah, family forever. You leaned in close, whispering your ear. You didn't feel the teasing look on her face.
Aww.
Exactly. There's no escape. I got a laugh out of you. You lightly pushed her shoulder. You stretched her arms high over her head. She yawned loudly and looked at you with tired eyes. I think that's my cue to head to bed. Hi. I think so too. Have fun sharing the room with Liz. She laughed at that, and you shuffled off towards the guest bedroom. Before you had a chance to do anything else, you could feel the top of your head being tapped. You spun around to see Liz smirking. Night, I'm heading to bed too. It's been a long day, and I have a lot to prepare for tomorrow. Feeling you automatically start fixing the back of your hair. Liz said and immediately walk away. You smiled softly at her. Everything okay? Her gaze moved away. You knew she had more to say. You waited patiently for Liz to compose her thoughts. Just it's been a good summer. It was nice to come back home. You nodded and Liz gave you a teasing nudge as she went by. Amused, you turned and watched her go. Love you, little kiddo. Let's give her a hug. You wrapped your arms around her back to hug her from behind. She laughed and patted your hand. Eventually, you let Liz go from your grasp. When Liz was outside, Mom started up the next conversation over her shoulder. Aren't you heading up to bed too? One, two, three, four. Wait, I want to relax first. Okay, we're gonna pause here. I'll be right back. Okay. Desperately, you need some time to decompress and clear your mind. You worried if you went up to bed now, you would end up staring at the ceiling all night. Okay. Mocking her into a smile and understanding, she pulled you into a big hug.
Love you.
Alright, you do what you need to. I love you. When you're done hugging Mom pulled you into another hug. Her actions basically hanging off to the other had you laughing jovially.
I love you.
So much. I love you too. Aww. They both couldn't resist taking turns hugging you again. Your smile widened. It feels good to be so loved. It does. I hope if people playing this don't have such a good home life with their families that they enjoy this chance to experience it, even indirectly. Good night, kiddo. Sleep tight. Good night, sweetie. Night. After that, your mom set it off towards her bedroom down the hall. You were about to turn the other direction when you heard Mom's voice. And don't let the bed bugs bite. You heard Ma chuckling as you watched him go with a smile. Let me pass, but you weren't entirely sure how much. Sighing, you sat up on the couch. It's a good rest, and all of your tired muscles felt quite relaxed. You got up planning on going to bed when something out of the window caught your eye. Your feet brought you right in front of the large window spanning the length of the back wall. You stared out into the hills behind your house. Just once here, your phone came on. You need to new notification. Okay. Of course it is. Want to hang out on the hill tonight? Something inside told you that this was the right kind of night to take a trip out there. Send back a very quick message. Yeah. Smiley face. You went over to the front door and stepped on the threshold. You gave the living room one last glance over your shoulder. Then you shut the door behind you. Silently, you made your way to the poppy hill. With light touch from the dark, you walked across the hills behind your house. Up ahead at the very top, silhouetted beneath the night sky, was a familiar figure already waiting there. And you wondered just how he always got there first. He even had the advantage of living closer. Because he's Cove. Story reasons. Then again, and maybe it was only in your mind, but somehow Cove was intrinsically linked with this place. After all these years, it would be weird to scan the horizon and not find him there, as real as the shore without sea. Sorry. Trying to get something out of the way here. The distance between you was growing shorter by the second. Hearing the crash and earth crunch under your feet, Cove turned. A grin spread over his face as he saw you. You took your place standing behind him on the crest of the poppy hill, looking out over the ocean. Same as you'd done on countless times since he first arrived when you found him on this very same spot. Wolf? Put a push bird on his head. Smelled that of how you both in place. She looked at him expectantly. There's something I've always kind of wondered about. Hockey said, giving a sidelong glance. What did you think about when we met? I was just a kid you'd never seen before, following his eyes out on the hill next to your house. That is a very good question. And, if I remember correctly, the answer depends on the first thing you noticed about him when you first saw him. And I don't remember what I first noticed about him in the street. know, in my ice cream game, I noticed the bright pink cat. He chuckled his eyes drifting across the sea beyond before flipping back to you. Rose's tasteful back to you made it clear that he was genuinely invested in the cat. Luckily for him, you remembered what initially struck you in that moment. It's just that it had only happened yesterday. I remember noticing the neon pink cast you had to wear that summer. I noticed the cactus was. As foolish. I burst into genuine laughter at your reply. I guess that's fair. It did kind of stand out. And you could just reminisce about that first meeting. I also remember trying to cheer you up. I remember that too. Running hands through his hair, and you knew his side of questioning wasn't at an end, even before he spoke again.
I mean...
Do you know what you thought about me? You know, as a person. Was I annoying or mean or... One, two, three, four, five, six. Fun. I liked you immediately. His eyes widened, openly amazed by your response.
Really?
Really? I don't know what I did to deserve that. It's nice of you. Cove's hand shifted to the scar on his arm, his fingers unconsciously gliding over the mark. It was much less noticeable than it had been when the neon pink cast had first come out, shrinking gradually over the years as his body healed and dwarfed in comparison to his grand body. Still, his fingers came back to it without thinking. He gave a half smile, not meeting your eyes. I feel bad now. The thoughts I had were, well, considering what you were thinking, I came across as a lot worse of a kid. You didn't like me?
No.
No, it definitely wasn't that. So lifted his head up. It sounded to me in your eyes fully once more. I remember you that day. I remember it really went well. I don't think I'd ever be able to forget. I picture the way you looked back when I first saw you standing right here. I still know the expression on your face when you chose to sit with me in the grass. Shadow felt derisively interrupting his own monologue. You scared me at first. I figured I'd be alone out there until I had to face my dad again. And suddenly another kid appeared out of nowhere. It was Darwin, but I got over that fast. You were a strange person in a strange place, but in that moment, you were exactly what I needed. Somebody could talk to freely about what was happening and how it made me feel. And you listened to me. You stayed with me. He sighed, then bit his lip as he gave a small smile.
It
was a little bit spoiled growing up. Come here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you were. Cove nodded, not resisting your words. He looked up again, seeking clarity for his thoughts in the expanse of the night sky. What I'm trying to say is, when I was younger, I viewed myself basically as the center of the universe. I didn't even imagine it wasn't like that. I mean, honestly, how many of us thought that way at first?
Things
didn't simply happen. That would be weird, according to my little kid brain. It made far more sense that everything in my life had a specific connection to me somehow, right? He sought affirmation in you, wavy brows raised as he tried to explain his childlike logic. At the time, he felt almost unreal. Like you weren't just anyone. Some other kids happened to live in that neighborhood with their own whole life that wasn't connected to Cove Holden. No, to me, you were there so that you could find me when I was lost. Well, it turns out you were there for that. You were trying to find me because something had sent you specifically to do that. I just didn't expect it to be my dad. I guess he knew more about what I needed than I thought. He chuckled, shaking his head as he shook off the thought. I had expected it all to vanish like a dream when that night was over. I would wake up and everything would be the same again. I'd be back in my bed at home, my real home, with both my parents. Future was something I couldn't picture anymore. I didn't know what school would be like when I went back, or the table where I'd eat breakfast the next morning, or anything. If I couldn't imagine it, how could I think it was something actually happening? I couldn't grasp my new reality. It's too big for me to hold all at once. So I never thought I'd see you again. Then Cove beamed at you, his eyes shining bright. And I never, ever would have been able to guess that 10 years later, as a grown-up, the two of us would still be together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. No way. Has it really been that long? You mind counting on your hands, brow furrowed in concentration as Cove laughed. Let the smile fade from his face as his eyebrows drew together. That was the worst day of my life at the time. The day my family broke apart. It was too heavy for me to even think about. I felt that way for I don't know how long. I mean, it's fair because when you're a kid, also things like that are the worst ever things to happen to you because you don't have any comparison. And I think some of those fail to grasp that kids going through stuff like this, it's always going to be the worst ever thing to happen. He held a hand over his heart, connecting with the pain he felt for the child, and looked at you earnestly.
It's okay.
But now, everything is better. Me and my dad, and my mom, and between the two of us. So, when I remember that time, it's not the point that my life was over. It's just the day I met you. One, 2, 3, 4. When? It's so great everything worked out. I think so too. Phil tried contentedly. His voice was as delicate as the petals on the poppies which crowned his hill. Hey, Jules? I'm so grateful you were there, even when I wanted to run away. I didn't even know what to say back to that. Heartfelt appreciation left you speechless. Phil put his head up, thought lost in the splash clouds above. I wonder how late it is. I guess it doesn't really matter. My dad is fine with me being out whenever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There it is. The problem with using a die set is the dice all look the same. They're all the same color, so it's hard to pick out the one you want. When? You could just use your phone to check the time.
I know.
Sure, I could, but I'm probably not gonna. You're gonna lay on the grass now? Wow, how'd you know? Lucky guess, Cove. With a chuckle, Cove popped down onto the ground and laid on his back, his usual way of spending time there. I am really tempted to sound Cove still, but no, we're gonna lay on our back. Took your own spot next to him in the grass, brushing the blades of grass aside a bit with your hand. Both of you fully settled in to relax on the hill. It felt like just the beginning of one of your nightly outings, but then you realized the sun was peeking out over the horizon. Cove spoke up with a disbelieving voice.
Huh.
It really was late. Neighbor wasn't a stranger to being awake at dawn, however, not like this. He normally was an early sleeper, early riser. So expected sunrise particularly awed him. Two of you watched on silently as the sun began to light the world. One of them propped himself up on the back of his arms and looked at you with a soft expression on his face. You want to go back home? I could carry you if you're too tired. I'd rather stay a little longer. Couldn't resist a yawn, but you were serious. It couldn't be time to go already. Hope chuckled affectionately.
I get it.
Okay, but it's been a long day. We've done a lot of things, like really a lot. It has to end sometime. Does it really have to end? Yeah, I don't think there's anything either of us can do about that one, but we can stay if you want to. Chuck smiled brightly at you. Chuck? What's up? Where did Chuck come from? Cove smiled brightly at you, as warm as the new rays of sun that were tickling your skin. In that moment, you couldn't have appreciated him being there more. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Situate yourself to be comfortable. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. You're my favorite neighbor. You're mine too. The two of you remained together on that familiar poppy hill where you first met until the world began to fade and blur. You were falling asleep. A few more gentle words drifting into your consciousness.
See you tomorrow.
I was stoked, but you felt good. You were safe and relaxed. Everything that comes before this, I've reassured you of that. You were confident that when you opened them again, things would be okay. You open your eyes. Besides the walls of your room, you were surrounded by open sky. It was not tucked into sheets underneath you, but the bed of earth and grass you'd taken last night. The day welcomed you with the shining sun, a refreshing breeze, and a chirping song of birds. Lift your face with your hands as you sat up, feeling the unparted blades of grass waving lines into your cheeks. Jules. Hearing your name, you lowered your head and looked around. There it was, your most influential neighbor, Cove Holden. He remained so very comfortable, laying on his stomach with jewelry and shoes sticking up and a flower in his hand. Good morning. Good morning to you, too. So glad to cope with the real-world situation, simply being able to spend time like this. That is so cute. I'll try to see you tomorrow. 1, 2, 3. Where is it? There it is. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slash 0. It's the exact same day, Cove. You were up until dawn. It doesn't make it a new day now just because we went to sleep later than normal. Then we disagree, because to me, it's not really the next day until I've been to bed and woken up. That's fine. I'll just have to make sure I see you tomorrow again. And the damn stat, too. That way there's no argument. Cove turned his head up to the sky, his expression content. Looks like it's going to be a nice day. Let's come up with something to do to make the most of it. Trailed off, thinking slowly in the sunlight. Someday, when we're even older than we are now, I wonder what we'll end up remembering this moment for. What will we feel when we look back at it? Will it be the same as what we're feeling right now?
It's nice.
We can't see what the future is going to look like again, but I think this is alright. I think that's alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep rolling on. 4. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to finding out. Cove back to you nodding in full agreement. Had the hills sprawling out before you and down below, where the wild hill of nature gave way to civilization. Your home and Cove laid down its god, and yet you said behind the other houses in the neighborhood. Cove said nothing, but fixed you with a deliberate and meaningful look. Much as I like it here, it's okay if we leave now. We can always come back to see the poppies and the fireplace again, right? Cove met your eyes, waiting for what you were going to say in response. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3. You're amazing. You didn't know where that came from, but your comment quirked a wry smile from Cove. His voice was lifted with mirth. You're one of a kind, huh? He beamed at you. His expression was so like the one he wore when you first found him here, swallowing sadness and uncertainty. Yet you couldn't help but glimpse that boy once more underneath his bright expression and matured features.
Come on.
He offered you a hand. You accepted it, your palm fitting around his. Cove lifted himself up, pulling you along too. I'm going to say I'm going to come running for us this time. We've got to make our own call, and I say that we can't hide away forever. Poppy Hill is just one part of things. There's more out there for us this time and this place alone. Let's enjoy it. You couldn't say whether you were the one that broke into a run, if Cove had been the one to start, or if repeated simultaneously made that choice for you both. The end result was the same, with the two of you dashing down the hill like children, the nostalgic revelry that could only come as an adult. The wind whipped past you, you knew that family and friends were awaiting at the end of your sprint. There were more memories to make, after all. Let's take another step forward. Whew. Okay, this is by no means done. This is just credits. Just stretch. Obviously, that last bit with Cove goes a little differently to romancing him. I mean, there's a lot that goes differently to romancing him, let's be real. You still have to get to step 4, but doesn't have its own moment. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. These are all people who backed the game on Kickstarter. I didn't hear about this until recently, so I wasn't able to do my part. But honestly, these names are part of the a lot of names. I think if you backed it at a certain tier, you could have a name included in the voice names DLC, which is free, by the way. But my first name and my online handles are both already on the list of voice names, so it doesn't matter anyway. Okay. I'm clicking through. Okay. In between. So I'm actually going to save that. Okay. So, change my appearance again, and even my name. It changed last but you can change first name again. And your pronouns. Let's stick with purple. You can still change it to Casual Love. Awesome. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to change Co's personality. Oh my gosh, what a cutie. So is he skinny or bad? Let's go skinny. But now we can see where the tattoo ends. Well, let's save it here, actually. And so your days growing up in the loving cradle of Sunset Bird came to an end. In the years that passed since graduation, you moved out of your childhood home and made your own way in the world. You lived alone, lived with pets, lived with Cove and his fish, lived with Cove, his fish, and the pet you picked, lived with Cove, his fish, and the pets you picked. Not gonna live with Cove. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Four. Lived alone. And you must do with focus on pursuing education. Family members went through the same kinds of leaps into independence, and both eventually earned degrees and started fantastic careers in new towns. But your moms and co-father still lived in the same street as they had for all those years before. It's comforting to you that there were some things that remained in the old neighborhood. And despite the ever-changing reality of your adult life, your friends are still your friends, so of course things aren't exactly the same for them either. Very recently, Terry publicly came out as a man and switched to spelling of the same to use a Y instead of an I. Also, what's funny is I have my first Mass Effect Andromeda character. I played the female writer twin, and they informed me that she's a trans woman, and she was originally named Terry herself with a Y, and she continues to go by Terry, but she did not change her spelling at all. It's still the same spelling that she used when she was a boy. So I thought that was funny. He also confessed his love for Miranda, which she excitedly reciprocated. They moved in together recently in the city out past Sunset Bird. I really wish I could romance Miranda and Terry. Because Miranda was such a sweetheart when you first meet her. And I just love her friendship with Terry. But I like that they had their own thing that happened. But hey, polyamory is a thing. Just saying. Derek was as busy as always, but doing well. He always made an effort to keep in touch, and we even saw each other in person occasionally. One person who did disappear to the shuffle of memories inside your mind was Baxter. After his vacation at Sunset Bird one year, he was just gone. That was a loss, you felt. He had become someone you'd considered a friend during those days. And then there was what became of the sad little boy you grew up with, Cove Holden. Of course, you're still a very important person in your heart. We're going to go with this one, because he is absolutely family. Cove was your family, and he always would be. He truly thrived in his continued efforts of cultivating loving and supportive relationships with his family and friends. His personality had changed, becoming more open than ever before. Cove was a warm, inviting, considerate man who took the lessons he'd learned over the years to treat people around him with patience and understanding. When Cove eventually developed a picture of the future he wanted to have as an adult, it made perfect sense to you based on his interests. He went to college to study marine biology. His ultimate goal was set on becoming a natural resource technician, and he still volunteered with Orca when his workload allowed it. Cove got a 2-year degree, and after that, he began working full-time at Orca. helping educate the public on ocean conservation and participating in shore restoration efforts. As an adult, Cove also was able to recognize and have diagnosed that he was on the autism spectrum. It was something that hadn't been noticed by his doctors as a child. It was still the same Cove he always was to you, and he was just glad to understand himself better. It thrills you to see how happy and successful he's grown up to be. On the whole, life continued a steady beat forward, and you all went with it down the path you chose. It was strange and wonderful. But no matter how old you got, how far you roamed, or how long you were away, the home you had in Sunset Bird still called you back eventually. The car rumbled down the highway. You had started to zone out when a truck in the left lane loudly zoomed past. Your driver didn't remark on it, just like anything else this trip. He went back and stared out the window, letting the scenery pass you by. You did appreciate the spacious taxi of your ride. You hadn't known exactly when you would be coming in, so you had decided to use a ride app rather than ask your mom to pick you up. And it turned out to be a convenient choice. You looked forward to surprising your parents at the door. You smiled at the thought of their faces lighting up. Luckily, this hadn't been that big of a trip for you. It was close enough that the travel hadn't turned into a big production. However, that didn't make the occasion mundane. For once, your moms had decided to have a modest celebration dinner for their anniversary. Unlike when you were growing up and they preferred not to make a big deal out of it, this year they were comfortable having a party. As time went on, they had found being the center of attention easier to handle. You were happy to see it. With this going on, there was no way that either you or Liz would miss your mom's anniversary. Both of you made plans to come back home for it. You didn't hear from Liz about her exact schedule, but you hadn't shared yours either. It reminded you of when you were kids and both knew to show up for dinner, but didn't keep each other in the loop for each other's pre-dinner plans. This was the same concept, after all. Some of the things you stayed the same, and yet it was definitely different from when you would see your sister every day, and knew sort of what she was doing anyways from osmosis. Today, you had no idea. Things were always changing. You may find how at times it was hard to believe you didn't live with your parents anymore, and yet you also couldn't imagine going back and living as a kid under their rules. The rest of the drive flew by. Your silent driver provided a smooth ride. No sharp turns or hard stops jostled you out of your own head. Your thoughts turned from introspective to observant. The landscape passing by became more and more familiar. You frequently recognized the landmarks that dotted the area. The grin came to your face as you passed the now entering sign for Sunset Bird. Excitement built within you. You were really here. You were doing this. The driver turned off on the street, and you realized that their MAC program was taking you the way home that my preferred. You usually would have used the other side street to pass by the beach. In no time at all, the car had gone through the whole of the town and pulled in front of your mom's condo. The car slowed to a stop and parked. With the buzz of the highway gone, you realized that you could hear the familiar sound of waves. The air smelled like salt, and a rush of childhood memories flooded back. You started to gather your things, and humming to yourself once more about how happy your moms would be to see you. After that, you'd notify everyone else that you made the trip safely. You pulled over your suitcase from the other seat and yanked at your bag from down near your feet. Tap, tap. You startled at the sudden sound of tapping on glass. It caused you to pause. Did you really hear what you thought you did? You weren't entirely sure because you soon heard something else. The window on the opposite side of the car rolling down. It confused you until you put it together that despite the driver's silence, you weren't actually alone in this car. The driver must have pressed the button. Someone had to be there. Turned your head to face the now open window. There he was, leaning his arms across the window, a member of your chosen family. Cove Holden. He beamed at you with one of his precious open smiles. Hey, Jules. What a surprise! What a surprise this is. I didn't expect to see you in this neighborhood. He was joking, of course. Seeing your expression, he decided to push it further. It's not like I've been waiting for you out here all morning or anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4. You survived. Cove burst out laughing at your delivery. It wasn't easy. He then gripped the top of the car door and pushed half of his torso through the opening. That was enough to make the driver break their silence with a sharp, "Hey!" Cove did not seem to notice and continued climbing in through the window. He pushed one hand down into the middle seat to prop his sanguine body up. I missed you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. He flicked his nose. He stretched your hand out again and a solid, friendly flick to the bridge of his nose.
Hey!
Gasped indignantly, but even then he couldn't cover his smile with his fake to front. Okay, now get out of the window, you crazy person. That's so comfortable. His body was shaky from the effort it took to maintain his precarious position. His smile turned awkward as his arm started to bend lower, causing his body to slide downwards with it. Turn his head to the driver.
Sorry.
I'm always causing trouble in this neighborhood. Joe shifted around some more and turned back the way he came. He had successfully pushed out the window and landed on the pavement with his legs. He opened your car door. You threaded your arms through the various straps of your bag and out. Joe took a few long strides around the back of the car and quickly met you on your side. Joe stood in front of you, and it struck you that the two of you were back in Sunset Bird, reunited once again on the street. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gonna be shy? Joe shyly at him. He gave a wide wave paired with a goofy grin. You really were excited to be around him again, and absolutely thrilled that it was here in this town where you were together. Joe's schedule had him come up earlier than you. He only arrived with you before, however, and secured the hotel room. Even though you didn't live far from each other, it still managed to see Cove Holden. It felt like it had been way too long since your last meeting. Oh. You barely shifted your luggage when it struck you that you were short one. You got out in such a hurry that was left behind. Reached back into the car to pull it out. Cove stood aside as you made a dash for the door. You shouldered the small bag, and it felt relief that you would be able to brush your teeth tonight. Got everything this time? Stood up straight, everything truly gathered up and out of the car. Gave the back seat one last glance and then nodded. Joe shut the door after you had moved out of the way. The two of you stepped off the street to give the driver some room. Cove waved. Sorry again. The driver said nothing and drove off. With the road clear, you let your gaze drift across the neighborhood that you had known forever. It was such a small place to spend so many days. You were flooded with memories of going up and down the street during every stage of your life. Being a little kid, following your big sister to the playground, becoming a teen and staying out later, and growing into an adult who left their parents' house behind to be independent. You could feel the summer sun on your skin from all the times you headed out to the beach. You saw the same surroundings that you, as a young adult, did when leaving home. Not quenched by the amount of history you had here. And now you were back. Despite taking in the neighborhood again, you never lost awareness of Cove's presence. In the corner of your eye, seeing him there was a very familiar sight as well. So many of your memories included him. Your mind drifted from the neighborhood itself to the person who used to live there. You didn't have to feel the nostalgia. Still remember his face, his voice, the scar on his arm from the days long gone. He changed so much since you had first met him, but even with those changes, he was always recognizable. He was familiar like the sky was, and the way you knew the sea. Every day they may appear different, but they're still an inextricable part of life. It was the world, with help from Mr. Holden and his ill-thought $20 bills that brought you together to begin with, where the two of you had chosen each other. You had never let your introductions fade. You had decided to nurture a relationship into what it was. And you would continue to keep Cove close into all the rest of your adult years. Cove was such an important friend to you. He was someone who knew you like very few people ever could. Between the two of you, you had years of inside jokes, enough to make an entire secret language of nothing but references to your many adventures together. You had been there for his tough times, and he had been there for yours. He was your brother in everything but legal papers, and you were grateful to have found him. It would be impossible to imagine life without him. Cove noticed you staring at him after a while and smiled with his eyebrows rising in curiosity. He was very transparent in his question if there was something you wanted to say. You shook your head and returned him a soft expression. You let yourself get carried away into a tide of memories, but now it's time to focus on the present. Ready to go see my mom? Cove nodded and then pointed at all your luggage bundled around your legs. Can I help with any of that? Yeah, thank you. You gratefully passed him the bag. It was a lot easier to balance everything with that out of the way. He used both hands to take hold of the one piece of luggage and stood tall, pleased to be able to provide his assistance. The bag situation resolved, the two of you strolled over to the Hunt residence's door. You started to pat your pockets instinctively, only to realize that you no longer carried a key to the house. That's again the entryway, a little lost, only just by the doorbell. Not having to ring it felt super weird. As you pressed the inconveniently placed button on the side wall, you remembered that no matter how much this place would always be a home to you, it wasn't where you lived. Being back there was like putting on a uniform after you quit the store where it came from. It remained the same, but your circumstances changed. Cove shifted on his feet awkwardly, obviously also thrown about you being stuck out here. You lived. You heard muffled voices and shuffling around from inside. Your heartbeat sped up in anticipation. The door swung open and there was your mom's smiling face. She immediately brightened up seeing you standing there. Well! Mom twisted her head back and gave a shout down the hall. Lonnie, guess who's here? There was more distant noises. No doubt Ma getting up from where she was to come see. And her stated words rang out clearly. I hope it's one of my children. Mom flickered, still holding the door only half open to hide you for a little longer. Cove flushed into slowly realizing that he was going to be present for your mom's enthusiastic welcoming of you. Smiled to reassure him that he wasn't intruding. Ma finally raised the door and peered over Mom's shoulder. It is! Hello, Jules! Gave you one silver pie that tops of your shoulders and moving down the sides of your arms before she nodded in satisfaction that you were in one piece.
How sweet.
This is a wonderful surprise. Ma inclined her head to Cove next, not leaving him out either. Hello, sweetie. He stared at your mom's greeting. They never changed. Cove bashfully waved at them. He hadn't relaxed fully, but he had settled down at their welcome. Well, don't just stand out there. Come on in. Your mom moved aside and held the door open for you, gesturing for you to enter. He stepped into the living room. It was comfortable and cool. Cove was a half step behind you, his eyes on the new paint your mom's supposed to have added since the last time you were here. Things were mostly the same, but there was more decoration since you had seen the house last. Mom may have gotten the urge for some interior decorating again. It struck you how odd it was to be the guest, only observing their choices for the living space here by the full-time occupant. Ma came up in front of you, excitement in her eyes. I'm so glad you're here.
That's fine.
You know, your mom and I would have been happy to pick you up, but you're self-sufficient and responsible. That's okay. What matters is that you arrived safely. Mom appeared at her side with a nod. Welcome back, kiddos. You appreciate that your parents respected you and as an adult, even if Mom still called you kiddo. You figured long ago that you'd always be her kiddo, no matter how grown you became. It's part of the whole parent-child deal with her. Absolutely. My parents are the same way. We're gonna hug. Time for a hug. You took another step forward and pulled Mom and Ma into a great big hug, squeezing them tight. Their arms wrapped around you in return, and you could feel their love for you in their embrace. One, two, three, four, five, six. Phew. I missed you both. We missed you too, Jules. It's always nice when I'm able to come by. Your Mom's giggled, pleased. I hope you've both been doing well. Is everything set up for your anniversary dinner?
No problem.
We're happy to help if there's something we can do. We've been plenty fun. It's been a little quiet, but that's not a bad thing. Mom placed her arm around Ma's shoulder and gave her a side hug.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about the party. We're just planning to eat at the Cypress, nothing fancy. There's kind of funny things to say about a pretty fancy country club. The biggest issue is just making sure everyone can make it for the day. Speaking of which, Liz will be arriving tonight. We're planning on picking her up later. I guess Liz has grown up as Jules. Mom snickered at her own joke, and Mom lightly elbowed her with a barely hidden grin.
Shush.
As I was saying, we could drop you off wherever you're staying if you don't mind waiting for that. I'm sorry there's no space for you in the house. It's gotten crowded in those old rooms since you and Liz moved out. I don't know where all this stuff keeps coming from. Oh, when my dad's parents passed away and we were clearing out their house, oh my gosh, it's like, where did they get all this stuff? My grandmother's sewing room was stuffed with sewing supplies. I forgot how many sewing machines she had, and just a pile of fabric and other things. And we saved her she had a whole center for sewing, and we held on to that because my twin wanted to have it, but she didn't have space for it at the time. And when she moved up to Idaho, she was going to have a whole house to herself, so she wouldn't take it with her. So we had to dig that out, and unfortunately it got buried under everything else in our garage. So we had to basically unload the entire garage and then reload it. But it gave us an excuse to reorganize the garage and make it a little easier to get at some things. But I guess it just, if you have that space, why not put stuff there, right? Sure you don't, Pamela. It's okay. Cove already has a hotel room. I'm going to be staying in anyway. Cove sent you some pictures of the place when he arrived. Stylish and roomy. It seemed very nice. It's a spacious double room. He claimed that his bed was comfortable. You had high hopes about your own. Your mom smiled to leave. Carrie's already here, isn't she? She directed her question at Cove. He bobbed his head a bit to go along with his reply. Yeah, I heard she made it. She's going to be staying with Dad while she's in town.
Oh?
Have you gone over and said hello yet? Cove chuckled self-consciously, and this time he shook his head, raised an eyebrow. You had figured he would have taken the chance while waiting for you. Not yet. I should go do that now. I just wanted Jules to be there, too. I could peek at you with an affectionate smile. Mom laughed at that, no doubt thinking that Cove was sweet, but ridiculous.
Oh, nice.
Nice to know your priorities. Yeah. Cove awkwardly rubbed his arm and shifted on his feet, looking not too much like he did as a little kid.
So?
Jules, do you want to go over to my house now? That's a good idea. We won't be leaving until late evening. You heard Ma. Let's go see your parents. Cove perked it back up, getting excited once more. We'll keep an eye on your things while you're out. There's no reason to be carrying all that around. Set down her bags in the living room, tucked into a corner where they wouldn't be in the way. Cove helped. Mom waved the two of you off as you walked back to the entranceway. Thanks. See you soon. You waved back and opened the front door for Cove. With that, you were on your way to see Cove's family next. This trip put a special little pep in Cove's steps as he crossed the street to his dad's house together. His spirits were equally high. Doing this, he felt like a teenager again. You had known Cove's parents for a long time now. When it came to what you called his dad, you still stuck with the familiar classic, Mr. Holden. He switched back to saying Cove's dad. You're on a first name basis with Cove. If you're in a romance with Cove, well, when in my on-stream game, I had them get married and Jack. So there was the option to call Mr. Holden Dad. So that was really sweet. So we're gonna go with Cliff. Although it was awkward on your tongue at first, it rolled off comfortably now. You appreciated how much he saw you as an adult and friend, and not just a kid from across the street. Which is why I picked that. Since for Iris, she had always preferred you calling her by her first name. To this day, you still did so. Phil popped up to the front door and didn't bother knocking. He twisted the knob and it swung open. With a grin, Cove gave you a gratified thumbs up. You shook your head in disapproval, but you both knew that you hypocritically supported his behavior. Your dad is lucky we aren't criminals. He brushed your comment aside and went right into his old home. Phil was there, standing in his kitchen and babysitting a pan on the stove. His head turned at the sound of footsteps, and he brightened instantly at the sight of you both. Phil matched enthusiasm instantly. If it was anyone else, you would have thought he would line up with a childlike joy over seeing his dad again. But since you knew that Cove was actually what Cove was actually like as a kid, you were aware this level of happiness for Cove was definitely not equivalent to any childhood feelings of his. Dad! Cove! Cove gracefully pushed what he was cooking to a different burner and swept out the heat. He rushed over to you both. Cove flew forward and met him halfway in a hug. Cove squished his eyes shut and held his dad in a tight hug. Cove soothingly rubbed his son's back. The more of an adult Cove became, the more he turned into a big daddy's boy, it seemed. I missed you. I miss you too. It was sweet, and teasing aside, it was wonderful to see them at this place in their relationship after years of struggling to connect. When the hug broke, Cliff tucked an arm around his son's neck. He let out a deep laugh. Still can't believe you outgrew me. I really thought I had that on him after graduating from high school, but then he had to keep going. Chuckling, he shook his fist in mock anger. Cove ducked his head and laughed in kind. Sorry, Dad. Cove's cheeks turned pink and he averted his eyes. He was becoming bashful, so you knew he had more than he wanted to say. Cove softly added, but I was raised really well. His dad's expression instantly crumbled with emotion. He sniffled. Cove put an arm around him too and tugged him into a side hug. You observed the little reunion fondly, happy to let them enjoy their moments. They were a perfect pair of sentimentality. Cliff eventually turned his attention to you.
Hey.
Hi, Jules. So great to see you. He pulled away from Cove and approached you with a little wave. He was back to his cheery self. So it's so nice to see you. Hug him. You went to him with your arms extended and saw "Is this okay?" question in your eyes. Cliff pulled you into a big hug without a second thought. There was a quiet sniffle. I miss seeing your face around here. Thank you. Cliff cleared his throat, pulling attention to himself, across his arms. But before we get too carried away, it's not a real reunion yet. Kyra's still in the guest room. I'll go get her. He eagerly bolted down the hall, and you could hear every step he took, and with a distinct knock. Kyra, they're here! It was only a second before there was the sound of a door being yanked open. The pounding of feet hitting the wood floor grew even louder this time.
My baby.
My baby! Let's go back so I'm not talking over her.
My baby.
Next to you, Cove, flat iron noticed laughed. Parents entered the living room, and Kyra stretched her arms out wide when she spied you both. Cove went to her easily. You went in for the hug, too. She pulled you tightly into her arms of Cove. You were squished, but felt every bit of love Kyra held in her heart for you both. Cove wrapped his free arm around her, too. He rested his head on top of hers and let out a happy sigh. After a moment, Kyra let go and pulled back to get a better look at your faces. She surveyed every inch of them and appeared satisfied. You're both looking well. That's wonderful, and just what I like to see.
Thanks.
And hi, Mom. One, two, three, four, five. I'm gonna say if I get sick, I'll probably change it. Probably again because two. Don't have to. Thanks, Kyra. Her smile widened and then she turned to Cove one more time. She brushed a few stray strands of his hair back into place. Now you look just as sweet as Jewel. So what's new? How have you both been? Kyra gave a nod for Cliff to go first. Cheerfully, he waved a hand.
No worries.
Oh, same old, same old. Still got the shop, still got my friends and family, of course, and still the most exciting thing around here is seeing who'll rent that one free condo. Incredible. I always knew you were such a snorer. They snickered and you couldn't help but peek at Cove. He rolled his eyes dramatically, drawing out a few giggles from you, but the whole time there was still a happy smile fixed on his face.
Well.
For me, things have been good. I've gotten a lot of interesting assignments lately. Oh, I recently went to Seattle and... Kyra twirled a strand of her hair shyly and her mouth turned into a grin. Whatever she was thinking about, it made her happy. And she's blushing! Yes! Things have still been going well with that guy from work. That's a little early to bring him all the way out to California to meet the family. He said so. Cove crossed his arms. He and his dad nodded. It was clear she appreciated the acceptance from her two boys. These two. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. More. I hope it gets a seal of approval when he does come around. You added a thumbs up to keep things light. Her smile wide and grateful for your gesture. So that's us. You two have plans for your first day back? The only thing I have to do is pick up Buzz later tonight before we head back to our hotel room.
Great.
Great. He suddenly looked over his shoulder, his eyebrows pushed together. I'm glad you're here, but I just remembered I was in the middle of cooking something. Only a small cackle escaped you while you fired up the giant grin taking over your face. Meanwhile, Cove erupted into laughter that had his dad shaking his head. That's fine, Dad. Go salvage what you can. I think it'd be nice to explore the old neighborhood for a while anyway, since we've got the time. Cove directed the last part to you as he spoke, hoping that you would want to go with him. You nodded automatically. You were really looking forward to it. That's a perfect idea.
Makes sense.
I think so too. You should go enjoy the day. I'll hang back here so I won't be at third wheel. And someone's got to keep an eye on Clay before it catches the whole kitchen on fire. Mom, you're not at third wheel. Cove stiffly stuck his arms against his side like a little child. His small smirk tugged at Kyra's mouth. She winked. You know what I mean. Have a good walk. We'll see you both later. Cheerily, Cole floated before going back to his cooking. Claire smiled warmly. Okay. Bye. We'll see you soon. Cove trailed behind you as you walked into the welcoming summer sun. He stopped closing his eyes to stretch his arms from the warm rays. Took his hand. Grant saw it into place through his fingers. God sent you his mouth pulled into a bent smile and your fingers intertwined. Naturally, you found yourself heading down the road towards the beach. Your spirits rose even higher as you strolled across the sand, heading for the shopping district. Arriving in Low past tourists who were taking in the sights for the very first time. Being a local was a badge of honor you wore proudly. Sadler walked past the shops. Over the years, some had closed down, but many of the stalls are still exactly the same as they were when you were little. Cove snapped his head as far as it could go to one side, so dramatically when it missed it. Something cleared caught his eye, but he couldn't see it.
Please?
There's a pretzel stand open today. Can we get one? His gaze found you again. He wore the biggest smile. You chuckled. You don't need to ask for my permission. Does your heart want a pretzel? Yep, it does. For a moment, you both quietly laughed at that. You placed a hand over your own heart. Then I think you should follow it. You're going to get the one that comes with a little pricing cup, aren't you? That's right. After that, you both happily made your way over, being pulled in faster by the delicious aroma of the stall. Oh gosh, this is making me want pretzels. With that, you changed course to put the stand for a snack break. Cove was very pleased by the morsel he picked up, and that was good to see. The sun arched across the sky as you went up and down the road as a pair. By the time you returned to the beach, day was beginning to fade into night. Cove picked his shoes off, tossing them into the sand. He wanted to get his feet wet in the waves as fast as possible. In seconds, you had your feet free and your shoes abandoned in the sand. Kept going until you were ankle deep in the water. Cove sighed contentedly. You followed his line of sight to the setting sun, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink. It really feels like summer now. He wore a bent smile when he turned to you, the light illuminated like a halo behind him. And the sight took your breath away. In fact, it's hard to think of anything that feels more perfectly summer than moments exactly like this, being here at sunset in Sunset Bay with you. I'm so glad that we were able to come back for a visit. You hummed in agreement. Of course we would have ended up like this again, sooner or later. He crossed your arms. Cove looked up from the sand, meeting your gaze with a bent smile. It's inevitable. Cove moved quietly, losing himself in his thoughts again. Shortly after, you saw his hand shoot down into the sand. He stood straight back with the lopsided smile and got toward brushing the sand off his prize. You knew without a single word. Cove had found a new shell for your collection. You wandered down the beach. Cove followed at your side in comfortable silence. The shadows stretched across the sand like they were leading the way. The only noise you could hear were the soft footfalls of your feet and the waves gently washing them to the shore. For a moment in time, it felt like there were only two of you in your own little world. Eventually, the bubble popped and you realized that your phone was going off. It was Ma, hoping that you were going to be back soon. You raised Cove's eyes so down to your phone. You let your hand fall back down to your side. You held the phone pressed against the palm of your hand. It's fine. She wants to know when we'll be there. He scratched the back of his neck and shook his head. Now switched like he just had a funny thought. Dang, parents, always trying to make us come home before it gets too dark. I'll just laugh. You think after all this time, they'd know that we always find our way home. I think she knows. She's probably just excited to spend time with you. Think so? Yeah, if I was her, I'd be missing you too. For one last glass, you threw your plate away again. He gave a strong shrug. Ready? Yep. Let's go. Together you left the beach, feeling the call of home pulling you forward. Both of you ran off towards your mom's house, leaving the waste behind, but welcoming the beginning of summer. Cove and you ran out for the beach, Sam flying from your steps. Cove made it to the right first, but you managed to catch up to him by the time you reached the house. It wasn't exactly a race, and it also wasn't not a competition. Both of you were laughing by the time you bubbled through your old front door together. You inhaled deeply and shouted loud enough to be heard anywhere in the house. We're here! The moms were seated in the living room. Their eyes sparkled as they locked on you in your light dusting of sand.
Hello.
Welcome home. Mom leaned forward, eyebrows raised at your jubilant entrance. Ma sighed wistfully.
Aww.
That brings back memories. Cove chuckled shyly as he scratched the back of his head. I hope we're not too late. Nope, you're just in time. So you better start packing it up. Liz will be waiting. Mom nodded as she stood up from her seat. She lightly ran her fingers over her clothes to smooth out the wrinkles. It took you a second to remember where you had put your stuff. You needed to get it all in the car so you could get everything back to your hotel. Can I help? You shrugged and directed him to your bag. Just go with your mom's and yourself on the job. It only took one trip to the car to get everything. Go further and close the trunk, and you thanked everyone for their assistance. Of course, kiddo. Come on, family, let's get in the car. That means you too, Cove. You know you're essentially family anyways. Thanks. Exactly. Well said, Jules. Cove climbed into the back seat with a decidedly touched expression on his face. You got in on the other side. When everyone was situated and buckled, the engine was started and Ma pulled out onto the street. You couldn't help but feel the need to be stuck in the back seat with Cove. Your mom's driving you around. It really was like you were a little kid again. Cove caught you staring at him and gave you a bent smile. He's probably on the same wavelength as you, from the sheer mischief in it. There was some light chatting on the drive. No one brought up anything too deep, but it mostly became swapping jokey stories. The entire trip was marked by a heavy sense of anticipation. Everyone was ecstatic to see Liz and hear what she had been up to. When you neared the airport, Mom pulled out her phone to call Liz. Ma followed the signs to the correct pickup area and asked for you to shout if you saw your sister. Yeah, Liz, we're at Wing B. There's a blue sign that says North America.
Alright.
The other door right in front of the building with blue windows. She says that she's outside, right by a yellow truck. I see at least a yellow truck. I think they're doing work at the airport. Back and forth continued with Ma driving around in the wide circular airport road while Mom attempted coordination between her and Liz's location. He leaned forward, peering out the front of the car. A tall, poised silhouette pulled a pale purple roll along with a suitcase behind her. It was definitely Liz. She waved to the car. Ma parked along the sidewalk next to her, and Mom put her phone away with a cheer. Mission accomplished, team! Ma excitedly reached over to grasp Mom's raised hand, thrilled that both of her kids were back.
Good job.
That's right. Liz came closer and yanked open the back door beside her. She popped her head into the car, her smile ornery despite how tired she appeared. It must have been a long trip for her, yet her expression was that same familiar smirk that you had grown up with.
Hey.
Hello, children. I'm back. Liz! Jules! Morgan hugged. You quickly unbuckled and then latched yourself at your sister. She wrapped her arms around you and squeezed. Well, hi to you too, kiddo. Hello, sweetie. It's so nice that you're here. Hi, Elizabeth. He jokingly hugged at her. We're not children. Whatever you say, baby boy. She turned her gaze back to Mom and Ma. You really know how to make someone feel appreciated. Her spirits were high. You could tell she was just as happy to be here as everyone was to see her. She left the car door open, but dug around to the back of the car. She opened the trunk and lifted her luggage in. I'm going to move your junk, Jules. I'll keep it in front of my bag so you can get it later. Mom's dropping you off first, right? Yes, but that's not junk. It's important. Liz slammed the trunk closed without responding. Liz swung around to the open door. You noticed that her hair had a few flyaways smoothed out from a long day of traveling. She leaned against the front of the car, giving you and Cove a significant look. I am not sitting in the middle. I already had 5 hours of that nightmare on the flight. There's no way I'm getting in between the two of you.
So?
I don't care how you decide who's moving. I figure you can find it out somehow. Cove glanced over at you and shrugged. He unbuckled his seatbelt and moved to the middle. I'm sorry you're always in the middle, Cove. Some people just must get their way. It's okay. Growing up, it was normally me and Lissy putting you in the middle of things. Ah, true. Memories. With the window seat open, Liz squished herself into the car and shut the door. When everyone was settled, Ma began to pull out.
Go.
We're off! Liz crossed her legs, compacted herself slightly. She braced most of her weight on the door behind her instead of sitting up straight. It gave her a little more room. Hopefully, we finish the journey. The car is almost as old as we are.
No.
And it's still just as good as you are. I've had a car like that. My grandparents' car was just 6 years younger than me. And my grandparents, well, my grandfather, I guess, didn't keep up the maintenance on it like he should have. I'm amazed it still lasted as long as it did. He cut the seat out of it. All the complaining definitely means Liz is back. So complains Jules. Mom turned up the radio as Mom merged onto the highway. The station was familiar with the normal soundtrack for what she had driven you and Liz around town. Liz bounced in her seat, enjoying the classic tunes. The song would be old enough to vote at this point if it was a person. That was hard to believe. Yeah, there's a radio station near where I live that plays oldies, and they started playing songs that were, by the time I got to college, they started playing songs that were as old as me and calling them oldies. And I was like, hey. With Liz, the conversation livened up, despite it getting later and later in the night. She told her all about her week and all the travel preparations she made. By the time she'd made it to the actual tale of travel itself, Liz started chuckling. On the place, Liz was sat next to a couple of girls who had talked a lot about how well they could read people. Liz recounted their conversation with her in hilarious detail as they had apparently tried to guess her own suspicion after only shaking her hand. Neither of the girls could have with one another, and Liz had refused to just tell them. However, the drive to your hotel was only so long. Eventually your group arrived. You yawned and got out of the car when it stopped. Hope clambered out after you. Liz gave a loud sigh of relief at all the extra space she found herself with. You and Cove grabbed the luggage and then waved off your family after you said your goodbyes. After they left, you and Cove went to go find your room. You scanned the key card to unlock your hotel room. It sounded out a soft beep and you turned the handle of the door. Yeah, if you're with Cove, you can choose to get a double room like this or a room with a single bed. The door creaked open and you craned your head in to take a look. Saw 2 queen-size beds on opposite sides of the room, further separated by a sleek nightstand. It was a prim, modern-looking space. It seemed clean and smelled faintly like fall air freshener. And I had the one near the window. You just want to be close to the exit, don't you? Hope cackled at your joke. You've got it. I might have to make an escape through there in the middle of the night. Fine, it's yours. Thanks. I got a good hotel, didn't I? Thanks for handling this. No problem. Oh gosh, my voice. I want to keep going. I think this is the longest I've gone. You'd be glad to have your appreciation. You and Cove continued to chat as you settled in and packed up your stuff and checked out all the room's amenities. Cove pointed out the mini fridge and started posting over what food could be ordered to the room. However, the fact was you were both exhausted. It didn't take too many yawns before you both changed into your pajamas and called it a day. I have arthritis. Hopefully this will help. Because I really want to finish this. You found the light switch near the door. The plastic was cool under your fingertips and you flicked it off. Cove crawled under his covers. From the lingering light, you could make out him setting the bed spread off to the side and only taking the sheet on top of him. You carefully made your way to your own bed in the dark and made yourself comfortable. You had to really use some elbow grease from the tightly tucked sheets to make the bed enough to get under them. I know. Get in there. Eventually, you were as snug as a bug under the white sheets that smelled faintly of fresh laundry. You rolled to face Cove. He did the same, and the two of you regarded each other in the low light. He smiled cheerily, excited to be on this vacation with you. Even in the darkness, his enthusiasm shone through. You smiled back. It was nice having Cove here with you. Good night, Jules. Don't want the big bugs, Spike. You neither. Cove began to speak again. It was loud enough to hear, but quiet enough that you leaned forward on your mattress to make it out. I can't believe we're really here. You and Liz and everyone else are going to be here in Sunset Bird again. I was staring at all the scenery going by while we were driving here, and it honestly felt like we never left. He ran a hand down his face. I mean, some nights it feels like it's been ages and everything's different, some that it doesn't, like because I'm staying at a hotel and just being in my room and Dad's, but yeah. It's so weird. Cove nodded. He understood completely. I'm listening. A yawn forced an interruption into the statement. Cove was undeterred. I'm looking forward to that. Staying here.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Jules. His words were whispered, you barely heard. It might even have been that exactly what I've just been guessing. Cove always had a habit of mumbling. I'm sorry, what did you say? It's okay either way. Whether you heard it or only thought you heard it, the sentiment was true regardless. Cove would see you tomorrow when he opened his eyes and the sunlight returned to your hometown of Sunset Bird. Comfortably drifted off to sleep and eagerly awaited seeing Cove tomorrow as well. Yep, we're not done. There's a lot more to go. It was already morning the next time you opened your eyes. Despite waking up in an unfamiliar bed, you were feeling good. Your eyebrows pushed together in confusion while you sat up. The blanket pulled in your lap and the sudden sound of water startled you. Yawning, you turned towards Cove's bed. He wasn't there. Glanced in the other direction and spotted him brushing his teeth in the bathroom and caught your shuffling out of the corner of his eye. Cove smirked with the toothbrush still between his teeth. He pivoted on his heels and gave you a little wave. You were needing to lean back over the sink to sit. After you stretched your arms high over your head and then twisted the knot of your back before getting out of bed. Cove finished up brushing quickly and leaned over the faucet to rinse his mouth out. By the time you had your feet on the floor, he was back in the main area of the hotel room. He took a seat on the end of the bed. His bed. Morning, Jules. Good morning. Sleep well? You had a playful grin at the end of that. Cove scratched the back of his neck, humming.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Standing up, Cove took a few seconds to stretch. Glanced over at you with an animated expression. I'm really looking forward to your mom's anniversary dinner tonight. It's gonna be fun. I think so too.
I mean...
This whole trip is great, actually. Being here with everybody is like having another chance of being a kid. We can do all the stuff we used to, and all the things we never did but wanted to. It's good to be back. I didn't think I was away enough to really be homesick, but now that we're here, I get it. Yeah, it'll be great today when we're back together with everyone. Well, we better get back to it, huh? We've got a pretty full schedule ahead of us for your mom's big day. You smart. So much for being a kid with so many responsibilities. I don't think seeing our friends really counts as responsibilities, Julie. Fine, you got me there. After that, you and Cove moved around each other, busily getting dressed and ready for the day. Light laughter and chatter filled the air the entire time. Bags were packed and the phones were set after. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. You somehow lost a single sock, but Cove found it behind the headboard. How did it end up there? You tell me. You were the one wearing it yesterday. Kathleen Cove with the balled up sock in her face. He snatched it out of his hand and stared at it incredulously. I don't have any idea how it got there.
I guess
it's just another mystery for the ages. Yep. There was nothing else stopping either of you now. In minutes, you were hopping into your ride and heading back to the neighborhood. It was another beautiful summer day in Sunset Bird. You couldn't resist rolling the window down so you could absorb it all during the drive. Outside across the street from you, near the opposite window, James was locked outside, catching all the old landmarks the vehicle was passing. His spirit rose even higher the moment you made it home once more. Eager, you hopped out of the car and let yourself inside. The moms knew you were going to be there that morning. But the second you made it past the threshold, an excited scream nearly scared you out of your shoes.
Hi!
You're here, and guess what? I'm here too! Wow. Oh my gosh, Lee. When your heart rate settled, the broad grin quickly took over your whole face. Since your cousin moved out on her own, you noticed that she really found her own groove. She was still the same loving person she'd always been on the inside, but she expressed herself in new ways. Lee was a strong, kind, and smart. Over the past 2 years, she graduated college with a degree in history. My kind of girl. Lady. So last you heard, she was pursuing her dreams, working towards getting into the music industry. You look great. Thanks. She began clearing her hands on her hips. Lee gave you a once-over. I'm not the only one. Shaking your head, you laughed with appraisal. Lee's gaze narrowed with scrutiny. Don't be modest. I mean it. You look happy. Lee leaned to the side to glance past you and meet Cove's eye. The grin on her face widened while she waved. Hi, Cove. Hey, nice to see you, Lee. I got in practically at dawn. It was a whole thing, but at least I made it here alive. Lee exhaled and slumped her shoulders to emphasize how exhausting the ordeal was. Behind her, Liz made her way over. She pressed her arms at the ceiling. I'm here too, in case you were wondering. I wasn't, but thanks anyway. I'm always wondering if you're there, somewhere. Liz's lips twitched before twisting into a smug smile. She brushed the stray hair out of her face.
Hey!
You make it sound like I'm always on you around. I have a life of my own if you weren't aware. I know, but when I'm home, I'm always keeping an eye out for my big sister. Old habit. How sweet. I miss the days of checking to see if someone else was made to the TV first, too. You laughed. Of course that's what her mind would go to. Another friendly shout rang out in the living room. It was as serious as it ever was from the many times he'd heard it over the years. Good morning, family. Your parents both came out from the side hall together. Morning.
Well?
Now that everyone is here, I do have a little something to mention. Mom put her hand lovingly over her wife. Mom leaned her head into Mom's with matching affection. So cute together. I love it. We're all still having dinner together, but Pam here actually made plans to take me out to French to celebrate our anniversary. Just the two of us. Please, she hooked an arm around Ma's waist.
Sorry.
Sorry to push you all out, but I'm sure this group of mature grown-ups will be able to entertain themselves for an afternoon. You don't need to find a babysitter or anything. Totally. Wait.
Totally.
Okay, I did talk over her. There's so little actual voice dialogue that I get caught off guard. My voice is going to be so tired by the time I finish this. Yeah, have fun, Mom. Don't worry about it. We can survive that. Easy. Enjoy your brunch. This works out, actually. An afternoon open means it's time to meet up with Carrie and Randy. Hopefully they're free today. Your two school friends still live around the area. They knew you were coming for your mom's party, but when or how you might arrange to see so it wasn't set in stone.
Sounds good.
Definitely. We should call them.
All right.
I had some people I'd like to say hi to as well. She's had her cell phone in hand, ready to get her plans made before she's even done speaking. Archie and eyebrow, she then directed the next part at Lee. Would you want to come along? We missed out on a lot of cousin bonding time in the past.
Yeah.
I'd love to. It would be an honor to hang out with you, Liz. I'll move my daughter. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. You nodded. You would be missed among your friends, but you couldn't blame her for wanting to spend some extra time with Liz. You'd see her again later that night. Excellent. It's settled. She squeezed her wife's hand. Her day took in the whole room, ecstatic to have the house full again. Today is going to be perfect.
Yes.
I think so too. I truly couldn't be happier with my wife, my children, and our whole beautiful family. It's already a wonderful anniversary. Sorry. Can't help being so happy because there's so much of current consumer media shows marriages and families that aren't getting along great. And so I like that they went this route, that they had your mom stay together this whole time and even clearly be happy and still in love. And even with Cliff and Kyra, even though they're divorced, they repaired their relationship and became good friends. So I like that it shows that there may be problems, but they solve them together, or they realize there's no way that we can fix this, so it's best to go this route. There were awes and sweet comments from the group gathered around a couple of the hours. Seeing how your moms were, you couldn't help but hope that when you got to be their age, that you could be a star of your life with them. After that, you enthusiastically began setting up plans to meet up with your friends. They were both able to come see you, having kept their schedules free for this, and you couldn't wait. Cove was also speedily sending text messages. Since you conveyed the plans to Terry and Randy, you imagined that he was letting his parents know about what he was going to be up to. The group continued to chat and catch up until it was time for your mom's brunch and a big meet-up with your friends. Soon enough, everyone was out the door looking forward to their fun-filled afternoons and the dinner later that night. Once outside on the neighborhood street, you looked to Cove, who stood at your side with a vet smile. Terry and Randy were driving into town while you and Cove were traveling on foot to meet them at an easier-to-reach spot. Man, we really are kids in such a part of God, having to rely on other people who actually have cars to really get anywhere. Now we're stuck walking to whatever is nearby. We never drive anyway. No, I'm gonna do this. You get a pedal with the toe of your shoe. You wondered if your feet would be sore by the end of the day. It's been a while, but your muscle memory could step in. You've done this walk thousands of times. I'm just glad Terry and Miranda are able to meet up with us. They're worth going the distance. Barnabas spent, and after a thought, he shrugged. Maybe if we're lucky, they'll drive us home. Maybe. Let's go. You bounced forward several steps and shot Cove a playful look over your shoulder. With that, the two of you began your trip down the old road. It was a casual stroll into town, and before you knew it, you were at one of the large parking lots in Sunset Bird. It was the one that used to have the little crepe stall. Remembering the delicious smell you got once and bought, the store did well enough that it moved into a full-size building a couple of years ago now. You've seen pictures. It was very cute. The parking lot was now just, well, an empty lot with cars to theoretically park in. Not many took the offer. So pulled out his phone, texting Terry and Randy in a group chat to let them know that you've made it. Someone must have answered already because Cove gave you a status update while staring at the screen. Randy texted, I can see you. The blare of a car horn cut you off. You and Cove both turned towards the source of the noise. One of the windows rolled down.
Hey, buddies.
Your friends had arrived, making a spectacle of it, as expected. Being the only car meant that they got the pick of the lot, so I pulled up to stop in front of you. The window closed back up, and instead the two front doors popped open. Terry and Miranda stepped out onto the pavement. Hi, Cove. Hi, Jules. Oh, she's so cute. The cheery way Miranda skipped towards you. Terry, on the other hand, walked speedily over to Cove, squeezing him into a hug. Quiet laugh escaped Cove, along with the majority of the air in his lungs. He didn't fight the description, but instead gave Terry's back a pat with a large grin spreading across his face. When you let Cove go, Terry came right up to you. He held up his fist up for you to bump it. Just bumped him. You pressed forward, meeting Terry's knuckles with a light bop. He greeted you with a satisfied grin. I mean, if you look at Terry's sprite, he doesn't look, his body shape doesn't look that different from the previous one. And I mean, the only difference really is that his hair is short. It's also nice to have your friend group reunited as adults. Terry is currently a full-time lifeguard down the busier beach of town over. You're proud of him. He helps a lot of people in his line of work. And in recent years, you and Terry were able to form an even closer bond. It was reassuring to have a friend who knew what it was like to go through changing parts of their identity. You could go to him for understanding, and you knew that Terry felt the same about you. Miranda took Cove's hand in one of yours and her other. Her eyes, I gave you both a gentle squeeze.
So great.
I'm so happy to see you again. Hey, Terry. Hi, Miranda. He answered assuredly. It was clear that he was equally glad to see them. This reunion was long awaited. For a while, Miranda had been working hard as an assistant at a school while continuing her own education. She also kept busy running a small online shop, selling crafts and knickknacks she made. You look so cute. Stop that. The pink in her cheeks deepened at your compliment. I mean it. You knew how full Miranda's plate had been for a while now, but despite the busy schedule, she really did take time to put together a fantastic look. Miranda released your hands, Julie and Shaggy both carefully. So, how have you been?
Nice.
Things have been nice. I've been doing well.
That's cool.
I'm really glad. Miranda put her hands behind her back, leaning forward just a smidge. Everybody already knew you'd be a success. What about you? I'm super. Terry lived next to Miranda and put his arm around her shoulder. Sighing dreamily, Randy chuckled up at her boyfriend. Yeah, things have been unbelievable. She pressed her cheek against Miranda's, and she let out a light squeak. It's like putting a amused grin on your face. Your friends made a wonderful couple. They knew each other well and cared about each other so much. It was no shock at all when you heard the news that they started dating. In your opinion, it was pretty cool that your friend group ended up leading the two of them into finding love together. Yeah, it's cute when you're romance and code because you ended up splitting into two couples. So then pulled his phone out and peeked at the screen. He repeated the motion every so often. He raised a curious eyebrow at his unusual behavior. He was too focused on whatever he was doing to even notice you noticing him. This is a stranger.
So...
Is there anything either of you want to do while we're here? Any place you want to see? I'd be up for a lot of things, but actually there is something I want to do right here. Oh yeah? What's that? Mary poked Cove's arm playfully. Miranda met your eyes silently after you had any idea what Cove was talking about. You shrugged. I just want to see my friends. Alright. Well, you're already doing that.
Well...
But I could be doing it even more. You, Terry, and Miranda all turned to Cove with identical, incredulous expressions. His stare moved to the point past you three, and you heard the scrape of sand and gravel underfoot. Soon else got this apart to us. So you jumped at the call of the warm voice shouting over.
Sup, guys, gals, and pals?
Oh my gosh. Wow. He grew up, didn't he? Running hand through his hair, the person across the lot was unmistakably Derek Suarez, who's beaming the whole way. It's been too long, even though it hasn't actually been that long, but long enough. Oh man, Uncle Art. Yes. Fuck yes. Bashful Derek scratched at the back of his head. Well, it is pretty true, but you don't have to say it. I think I do. Someone better report those guns. Thanks to all your encouragement, Derek went along with the fun and held his arms up, flexing. Applause broke out among your group, and you whistled, causing a red blush to darken his cheeks.
I missed you.
He spoke to you gently. We were thrilled just being there, reunited with him. Derek was a good friend of ours, and he had been of for a long time. Hey, he waved over at Terry and Miranda pleasantly. Over here, they all had met several times in passing, simply through being friends with the same people. And so apparently, if you lose touch with Derek in the previous step, this is the first time Terry and Miranda meet him. What's up, big man? Hey, it's great you could come. Cole put himself next to Derek, happy he clapped a hand on his friend's shoulder. Hey, thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Of course. Thanks for inviting me. Sheepishly, Cole looked back at you and the others. That's when it clicked in your mind. It wasn't Terrence that he was texting earlier. It was Derek the entire time. Derek was in town for a few months to help my dad and his dad with some work. Yep, I'm working on my own business thing too, but still involved with rent scuba shop I called for.
Very nifty.
Derek elbowed Cole.
So?
But hey, we don't have to stand around here for my sake. What's the plan? Let's hit the town. Eager to get going, everyone piled up to Terry's car. The rest of the afternoon was spent in Cincinnati spots, all over Sunset Bird, laughing and reminiscing the whole way. Once it started to get late, Terry brought you and Cole back to the neighborhood. You didn't have to walk there after all. You didn't get out until promises were made to see each other again before your trip ended. Side by side, you and Cole stood in the street and waved at the car as it drove away. Terry tapped the horn for 2 honks while Miranda stuck her hand out the window to wave back. You got Derek in the back window, giving him both a wide grin. Dying as soon as the car tuned down another street, they were finally out of sight. Well, that was one party. Time for another. Ready to go see your mom? Always. Let's keep the celebration going. You shimmied a bit right there in the street for added emphasis. He looked at you amusedly and rolled his eyes.
Come on.
Let's go. Spirits high, you and Coke crossed the distance to your house. It was almost time for the anniversary dinner. You barely stepped over the threshold of the condo before Ma descended, eagerly welcoming you both. Usual greetings were followed by questions on everyone's well-being, after which the conversation moved on to excited chatter about tonight's dinner plans. Coke excused himself to the restroom to freshen up before being on the move again. But when he returned, you were shocked to see he had entirely changed outfit. Oh, looks spiffy there, Cole. Where did that come from? I packed it with me so I could get dressed before the dinner, so I had to go back to the hotel, didn't you? And you have stuff still here at your mom's place? No, Cove, I didn't do that.
Huh.
Your mom's party is at the country club. And that's also where Liz took both with us, and everyone is there in their Sunday best. This is not like the summer soirees where they were having a real party. We're only going for a regular meal. Cove was as befuddled by your explanation as you were with his actions. His arms up, desperate for understanding.
Seriously?
I'm not dressed nicely for a country club. I don't think the Cypress is as special as you decided it is. You saw Ma, she wasn't in formal clothes, and she's one of the guests of honor. You realize now that whenever you went to the country club on a normal day, it was trailer time with just you, Liz, and your mom. Each time Cove came, there had been more exciting things going on. You never would have thought of that before, but his perspective suddenly made a lot more sense. His frown wobbled, and his cheeks became far pinker. He looked down at his own self regrettably as he pulled at the cuffed ends of his shirt. He seemed more like a scolded child than a grown man dressed for the latest charity gala. I thought she was going to get changed while you and me were. So, it's okay. You look very nice. I earned you a sheepish smile, though he still clearly wishes that hadn't garnered any extra attention. His eyes stole a glance at the hall, as if he was calculating if he'd have time for another quick change. Fortunately for him, it was not meant to be. The time to head out came far quicker than you'd expected. Cove and Kara swung by the condo to make sure everything was in order, and for your second surprise, that night Cove was also in formal clothes. Cove's face excitedly moved towards her at the same time Cove went to Kara's. The two men pointed at one another. See? He knows. Like father, like son. I love it. Exactly, sport. Kara was talking to me like I was crazy. The aforementioned Kara took the hand delicately, yet dramatically across her eyes. Clifford, our son only knows this because you were the one who raised him. Cove chuckled, his arm moved to scratch the back of his neck. Yeah, that's my boy. The ends of Cove's mouth gently bent up. He truly was his father's kid in more ways than you. My father's dying. Just like my voice. going. I'm not sure how much longer we have. This is easily going to be over 3 hours. All the Hunt family and Joe's family members, Cliff, Kyra, and Cove, headed out at the same time to the Texas. It was to be a perfect reunion. An impeccably smart host greeted you on arrival, smoothly leading the way to the tables were served for the three parties. With both food and dressing up, they don't feel quite so awkward. Once you all settled in, chips and drinks were poured into delicate glasses. The food would be coming out later, letting you soak up the atmosphere for a little longer. Smiling, your parents faced a group of familiar faces, all gathered here together to share this special day with them. Mom reached over and took Maud's hand, clasping it between both of hers.
Thanks.
Thanks for being here tonight, gang. Marrying this lady right here is the best thing I've ever done, and there's no one else would want to celebrate that with. Yes, we're so lucky. Not only do we have each other, but we've got such a large and loving family through all of you. Around you hear people saying aw and chuckling appreciatively at the comment. She had clasped her hands tight in front of her eyes shining. Your eyes met Liz's misty ones, and the affection she had for her mom carried over to you too. Oh, sweet. You turned your attention towards the happy couple just as they leaned in to kiss, smiling all the while. Gabriel responded with cheers and claps and shouts of happy anniversary and other congratulations, continuing even after he'd broken apart. Mom beamed as she watched Mom giggle dreamily. The waiters reappeared, delivering delicious plates of food, and the dinner began in earnest. Full conversation and laughter continued to flow freely as the night went on, the two families relishing the opportunity to be together once more. Eventually, after your hunger and thirst had been fully satisfied, the plates were cleared and the event began to draw to a close. Cliff and Kyra exchanged goodbyes with their family before heading out together. Cove waved his goodbye to his parents while hanging back until your moms were ready to head off. You were getting a lift back with your moms. It was already late, so you discussed the possibility of going straight to the hotel rather than going back to the condo. But Cove had asked if they'd mind taking him back to the neighborhood. He wanted to visit a little longer. Your moms had happily agreed. Liz and Lee were feeling tired, so your moms went by their hotels during the trip home, while you and Cove made the full journey with them. Riding in the backseat of your mom's car with Cove felt more than a little nostalgic. His eyes drifted over to him, his head resting on the window. It was hard to believe how much time had passed. Mom stretched as she got out of the car, smiling over her shoulder as she headed towards the house. Time to put my feet up. You two joining us? Cove shook his head. No thanks. It's your anniversary. You don't have to entertain me. I'll take a walk. Never any trouble to have you over, Cove.
You alright with that?
Let him do as he pleases, Bunny. But you better not stay out too much later or there'll be trouble. Maud tackled his mom without finger, her expression exaggeratedly severe as she reprised the role of that intruder she'd never really played. Neither of your parents had been particularly harsh as you'd grown up, Maud during the act. Don't go too wild just because there's no school tomorrow. After they made their way inside, leaving you standing out in the dark street with Cove. You didn't even need to ask him why. You'd already had the answer for this. He wasn't yet ready for the day to end. Not a word, Cove began to stroll down the road, locked alongside him. You'd known your destination long before you arrived on the dark and utterly deserted beach. There were no lights down here, nothing but the moon and the stars for illumination. The only sounds were the gentle waves rolling in and out, and the soft sound of the footprints you left in sound. In other words, it was perfect. Cove stepped out into the waves without a word. He looked up at the sky with a smile, then took his head down and began to pull his fancy shirt off. He tucked it over his head and wound it backwards, further at the beach and out of reach of the waves. Didn't know I'd be getting a show. Cove froze, his arm still raised from when he'd thrown his shirt. Slowly, he came back to life, stiffly coiling his arm back down. Commentary had made him self-conscious. Laughing, he clapped your hands in delight at his awkwardness. Cove flipped his dress pants off and tossed them back in roughly the same direction as his shirt. This was against him. He polka dot boxer briefs. Sometimes you were really struck by the ways in which he was a braver than his younger self. This was definitely one of those times. You never, ever would have done this when you were walking down the street. But you also know you still wouldn't do it with anyone other than someone you'd spent all those years with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fine. He decided he didn't care if her clothes got wet. Cove waded further into the water until it came up to his chest. Cove goes deeper into the sea. Your wet clothes cling to your body, soaking up the water and weighing you down. A physical reminder of all the unwritten rules he were breaking. Cove grinned as you approached. I'm going to be in so much trouble with my moms when we get back.
I guess.
Yeah? Oh well. Think fast. He splashed water at you as soon as the words had left his lips, giving you no time to prepare. Splash got you full on, leaving you fluttering and drenched. Smash him back. Seeing what you were doing, Cove put his hands up for protection. It was no use. The water washed over him, leaving his hair soaked through. Cove sighed, then looked at you mournfully. The slight shift in the mood alarmed you. Those worries disappeared as soon as he opened his mouth. We're still not merfolk. The world is cruel. He snickered. After a moment, Cove's mock sadness broke, and he joined in. The two of you wound up drifting further down along the shoreline, chatting and enjoying the chance to be back on the beach that had provided the background for so much of your childhood. Eventually, a silhouette of structures appeared up ahead. As you grew closer, you realized it was the old playground. Cove spotted it too and hurried towards it, dragging himself out of the water and heading into the park. Wet sand coated his feet and lower legs with every step, clinging thickly enough they began to resemble a bizarre pair of boots. As you followed him, you wondered how many visitors in this old park got these days. There were officially no children living in the neighborhood now. Cove gazed at his surroundings in wide-eyed awe. He didn't care at all that his choking wet and dressed only in his underwear. Crouching, he gently pushed one of the child-sized swing sets, marveling at it all.
Wow.
I can't believe how tiny everything is. Were we seriously small enough to use these? He shook his head, unable to fathom just how little he was then when you first met, then walked over to the monkey bars. Once these had been a challenge for you, now they were little more than a waist height next to Cove. Cove turned his back to the bars and hopped up onto them with ease, sitting on them comfortably. We're going to sit with him. It's strange seeing an adult Cove juxtaposed with baby playground, but you took your own place on the structure. This place had been something so exciting to Cove back when he first arrived, and apparently it was to this day. He smiled at you as if welcoming you back to a part of yourself you'd long forgotten. It felt like home. Cove had been such a good friend of yours for so long, so much of your life had been shared. That might have started by chance, as Cove just happened to move in near you, but it went far beyond luck and convenience. You chose to include Cove in your life, just as he chose to include you in his. So we were so grateful that you've been brought together, and so thankful that you and Cove have stayed together. We wouldn't have had it any other way. Here we are again. Here we are. The mood had shifted now. Sunny and close as night beach strip with the spike of adrenaline that came from you playing in the water and in the moonlight had settled into something quieter and more nostalgic. Cove leaned back, tilting his head towards the sky to admire the stars above. The dinner was really nice. It was great to do all this. The smile he had when he spoke those words fell as quickly as it had appeared. It went by so fast. We all came out here for a party and it's over. Liz, me, our parents, we'll all be going back to our own things now. But what else can you do except say it's okay? This is part of growing up. This place and these people, they're our foundation. It shaped who we are now, like making textile sand. I owe a lot to Sunset Bird. Doug crinkled fondly, and Cove's voice was gentle when he spoke again. You had a good childhood, I think. I'll always remember our days here.
Me too.
He shook his head, sighing heavily. All right. Smile took in an uncharacteristically harsh twist, feeling where this was going. We better get home before your dumb parents who don't know anything get mad. He had to laugh at the half-hearted impression of young Jeremy, the boy you met in the Berry Park. Kept along with you for a month before tapering off. I hope we don't get grounded. The jokes kept coming. It was very amusing to imagine that not only could your mom somehow ground you as a fully grown and independent adult, but their parents extended it with Tyler as well. Much as you were enjoying being back here, Cove was right. You had to accept that you needed to go now. It was late and your mom was still expecting to see you before you got a ride back to the hotel. You and Cove hopped down from the bars, landing easily with the ground only a short distance below. Before you could return, you had come closer to you from the beach. You retrod the same path, following the footprints down to the shore you left in the sand only a little while earlier. When Cove had scrounged up his abandoned clothes, you started to walk up the old home side by side. Your opposite waters had been your skin as far as the road as you made your way back to your mom's house. As you and Cove were still soaked and sandy from your earlier adventure, it was likely that you were leaving quite a trail in your wake. But you'd seen Cove's bedroom growing up. It was only natural for him. The air was slightly humid, already pleasantly dense with moisture that felt like a hug as it closed around you. Any damp clothes over left behind would take longer to dry in this weather. Signs of your adventure might even be visible when the sun came up the next day. You hoped so. You quite liked the idea of you and Cove leaving your mark in your hometown again, even if only for a little while. By being out late, and in Cove's case, mostly undressed, the balmy summer night prevented you from feeling any chill. You were entirely comfortable. In truth, you felt warm inside and out. The day had been so lovely, spending time with friends and family, and your eyes drifted over to Cove. Cove Holden, just seeing him brought a smile to your face. I love you. You're my family. Cove looked at you, his mouth open and lower lip trembling. It was a telltale sign that he was getting choked up. I feel the same way about you. You're the best sibling I've ever had. Good time. Cove squeaked, startled by the sudden embrace, but quickly warmed to it and responded by wrapping his arms around you in turn. You were full of joy. All of the concerns from the day-to-day stresses of normal life were squeezed out by it. All you could think in that moment was how your life was wonderful. Every second and every day needed to end sometime, and that time had nearly come to tonight. Had to get at least some rest and bring it all to a close. And so the two of you went inside to say goodnight to your moms, as well as clean yourselves up as best you could. Your moms, both in pajamas, ready for their own sleep, hooted with laughter as you came inside, disheveled and damp, and the TV continued until the car came to get you to the hotel. Mostly sad, as he put his casual clothes on again, placing the formal ones back in the bag you brought them in. You've given Mom and Mom plenty of material for a mock scolding, and you got a playful lecture about not getting into the water without bothering to change first. You just grinned at your partner and crying, feeling like a naughty kid again. It had been worth it. By the time you and Cove finally dragged yourself to your hotel room for the night, the sky had been dark for some time, and the lonely hotel hallways were quiet. The late hour made you feel a sense of fulfillment. You really were making the most of your trip. It was such an odd thought that this was almost over. It settled into this new routine naturally. All the familiar streets and faces made everything easy to get used to. The two of you gruffly shuffled past the nice machine and into your room. Cove had photo on the bedside table, and you called Sue. Yeah, dinner. Almost done. Still started telling you for the night. The hotel Holden was a welcome sight after a long day. You noticed Cove rub the back of his neck and yawn. His voice was quiet and distant. I hope the pet sitter is doing good. Which was exactly directed to you. It was just a sleepy thought that Cove had at least swum up in the world at large. But you still agreed. I hope so too. Cove still kept fish after all these years. Delightful, colorful things in huge aquariums. Apparently spent a lot of time watching them swim. Fish were the most important things this place did. You had not been surprised when he told you that he had done someone to look after them in his absence. Cove's anxiety about leaving them hadn't subsided. Over the vacation, you caught him a few times texting the pet sitter and asking about his fish. It'll be okay. Cove turned his head to you, the nervousness still coming out despite his exhaustion. I know what you mean, but you chose that person for a reason. You trust them. But they're all fine. They just miss you. Cove smiled, appreciative of your friend. You nodded in satisfaction. Mission accomplished. Cove yawned widely. He seemed confused at the magnitude of it. Groggily blinked at you. I think it's time for bed. You glanced at your watch. It really was astonishingly late. Yeah, Cove, that is an understatement. So you got finished to brush your teeth, and no time at all, both of you were cozy and ready to sleep. After that, you and Cove headed over to opposite sides of the room to climb into your respective beds. You tucked yourself under the covers gladly, positioning your pillows to be just right, then shifted to peer over at Cove, who was facing you back, just like the night before. Cove gently spoke, his words like a lullaby.
Good night.
Night. Cove's eyes fluttered shut, and he let out a contented sigh. Your eyes fell closed sometime after that. You were not sure exactly when, only the fact that they were now too heavy to open. It was a mixture of bitter and sweet emotions. You were happy to be here. Your sigh was ending. It was relief that you would soon be in your own home again, but also wondering when you could return here. There were many more feelings swirling around in your head, but that hadn't even crystallized into thoughts yet. Paradoxically, you felt amazed, but also confused, but also amazed from the confusion. In the back of your mind, you realized that you really must be tired. Unsurprisingly, your exhaustion did not give you too much time to muse on your emotions, and what felt like seconds, you were already dreaming. Your sense on your head became fragmented and you couldn't remember a thing about them at all. Yeah, that sounds familiar. You're growing more aware of the real world. The one that woke you up. You turned it off as quick as your hands could move. You dropped your arm back down on your toes. That you spaced your eyes and say it. The body was determined to go back to sleep. It was just too early and you were more than happy to reject the morning. You sat up fully with a big yawn, stretching your back, then your arms, and lastly your neck before accepting the day. The blanket fell to the sideways, swung your legs over the side of the bed. Part of it almost got caught on your foot, so you kicked it away. He put a hand over his mouth, but he still caught the way his shoulders shook. Take a step back, in your room to get up. Today would be your last day in Sunset Forest, so the only thing you had planned was some family time in the old neighborhood. You figured you'd see where the day took you from there. Yawning again, you glanced over at your clothes. There's just one more day to live out of your bag. I'm really looking forward to having my full wardrobe again. There are only so many outfit combinations you can make, and you pondered them all while you poked through your suitcase. You frowned, wishing that you had packed a little differently.
Don't worry about it.
You'll be reunited with your closet soon. Not soon enough. Alright, let's get going. Let's get things going. Our families are waiting. Nodding, you and Cove swiftly to finish getting ready in the small hotel room. As soon as you had your stuff together, we're ready to go. You were off. During the ride there, you and Cove decided to visit his dad's house first this time. Change it up a bit. Nice. When that dropped off, Cove eagerly hopped out into the street with his eyes locked in his father's condo. He gazed while and cold in the way the summer sun made him shine. Happily, it was such a wonderful thing to be there with him. Cove strode up to his old front door and casually flung it open without bothering to knock once again. He followed him at his side as he tugged his head and closed the door behind you both. Hello? You found Cliff and Kyra in the kitchen getting breakfast ready. Kyra was cutting an apple while Cliff was watching a frying pan sizzle. Those parents waited for him across the room, not straying from the task. Good morning, you two. Yeah, morning and hello to you. I hope you slept well.
Thanks.
Thanks for swinging by. You're more than welcome to join us for breakfast here, if you haven't already eaten, of course. We haven't yet, though even if we have, there's always room for more. Kyra chuckled. She put down the knife she had in her hand so that all her attention could be on her son. You're still my giant, growing baby boy. Mom, please. Kyra didn't pay Cove's whining any mind. Instead, she put her finger up to her lip as she thought, her eyes on you, and then glancing towards the window.
What do you think?
You wondered, do you think your time is eaten yet, Jules? I'm not sure. Cove and I came over here first. Your eyes looked over to the clock on their oven. Given the time, your moms may have eaten, or they could be having a slower morning. It was a coin toss either way. Well, give them a call. They could come over. Cove nodded with such expression on his face. Making them breakfast is the least you could do after how much food I ate in their house growing up.
Right.
True, bud. Very true. All right. You took out your phone, even though your moms both had cells for years. House number was the one that you had memorized as a kid, and the first entry on your contact list. As the call connected, you tapped the speaker button. You figured it would be easier if everyone could hear what was going on. You heard a click and familiar static. Hello, Jules. It's nice to hear from you. Hey, Mom. Good morning. I'm across the street right now, and Cove's family wanted me to invite everyone to breakfast. Do you want to come over? That sounds delightful. Pamela and I can do that. Ruth and Lee should be able to make it too. Would that be fine? Cove took a step forward and spoke loudly so that his voice would be picked up. It definitely would be. The more the merrier.
Marvelous.
We may have gotten together for dinner last night, but there's no law that we can't do it again for breakfast today. Enjoy the company while you can, is what I think. Ma giggled, and you could hear someone wrestling on the line. Thank you. I'll let them know. We'll be right over. Cove gave a thumbs up. Cove shook his head with amusement. Dad just gave a thumbs up. I'm telling you since you can't see him over the phone. Harris floated and Ma's laughter rang out. So in the kitchen. Cove switched the thumbs up. Instead scratched the back of his head.
See you.
Oh, it sounds like we'll see you soon. Goodbye for a little while. You feel her smile from her voice. Bye, Ma. You ended the call with a satisfying tap of the red button. His eyes wandered around the space. We better get cooking.
Sounds good.
I can help. Me too. No way, you're best. Sarah and I have got this. She grinned. There was something playful in the twist of her lips.
Right.
I could have said it better myself, Seth. I've been in your spot before. There's no choice but to accept it. So sighed, but from the sparkle in his eyes, you could see that he was entertained. Fine, we'll just hang out over here, I guess. Good. Phil walked over to the living room and gestured at the couch. She both took a seat, getting a comfortable spot to wait for food and family. Phil tilted towards his parents with his chin, but shook his head with a gentle smile, silently asking if he could believe this. All you had was a silent shrug. Time passed, Phil was like chatting. Phil kept a careful watch on his parents' culinary progress, and occasionally kept writing commentary. Oh, Dad added another pinch of salt. I wonder if that was a good idea. Phil tried to raise his voice to protect her in the living room. He sounded very amused. It's funny that you, a lot of people, are commenting on my salt usage. We were both born and raised in the salt water. Besides, don't you remember back when you were about 12 and tried to make things flush slightly, but his smile remained as bright as ever? You really want to start talking about cooking mistakes, Dad? Because I remember a lot of things, too. Like, what about that chowder? That was supposed to be a pie. So we just family were quite a show to listen to. You chimed in occasionally, but mostly you provided the last track. Eventually there was a rippling knock on the door. That's them. He said it loudly for his parents' benefit. You know, they got up to greet your family. When you opened the door, surprisingly, there were no moms. Jerry stood in front of Miranda at his side. Derek waved from behind them. Hey, buddy, it's good to see you two before you left. I would have been to go over to Joel's house next if you weren't here. Luckily, you two aren't too hard to find. Right. What he said. And hi. Joe burst into happy laughter. His brows were half surprised. I don't like how it looks like you're unwrapping a nice present. Wow, Dicks are coming. Hello. Sarah's voice carried through the house from the kitchen. So Spike was projected. Great, the whole gang will be here. You heard the sound of a cabinet open and shut, a fan clattered, and the faucet turned on.
Are we interrupting something?
Oh my gosh, that's a voice. Your parents, sister, and cousin are coming over for breakfast. They should be here in a few minutes. Yep, but my dad always makes a ton of food anyway. It's no problem for you guys to join in. Both waves out their concerns before passing with a thoughtful hum. Well, no problem is to have enough places for all these people to sit. You peered back into the house, start counting the dining room table, chairs, and bar stools. 5, 6. Just interrupted when Cove began trying to use his fingers to connect the different chairs from different desks.
No way.
Some people get squished together on the sofas. It'll be fine. This really is going to be a party. Well, I'd be happy to accept the invitation.
Yeah.
You had to be crazy to skip out on this.
Thanks.
Thank you for making room. We're really glad that you came. Your three friends finally piled into the house. They had a chest fell and the doorbell rang. Only Miranda had sat down.
All right.
Now that has to be them. People laughed as he walked back over to the door and opened it up. He was right this time. It was your parents, Liz, and me all crowded on the front steps. They switched into the house and was surprised at just how many greetings they said. Sheer force of the chorus of hellos was impressive.
What?
How did they beat us here? How early did Joel call you? We were literally across the street. Right? Terry stared at your sister's confusion. He seemed quite pleased with himself. We were a surprise. We called ourselves.
Cool.
Very cool. So smirked to see adjusted the settings on the stovetop. A little more crowded than expected, so we're making it work. Phil led the crowd group to complete the picture inside, and they took the chance to greet you along with everyone else. When the excited energy buzzing around the table started to calm, you had a second to truly appreciate this view, the most important people in your life all together again. It felt too good to be true to have everyone here. And then you noticed the car stood back up, clapped your hands once, and a satisfying smack. I hate to interrupt, but I thought you'd want to know that the food's done cooking. He across the floor to place a silverware on the table, and then he dropped stuff on other surfaces around the rest of the living room. It was done, gestured toward the food.
Okay.
Plates are in the kitchen, serve yourselves and sit wherever you'd like. The guests happily formed a line, and the meal was steadily passed around. For long, each person claimed a seat in the Holden living room area, some at the table, others on the kitchen island, and some situated on the couches. Conversations trickled across various questions of friends as everyone dug in. Phil finished his plate in record time with a pleased sigh. He put his fork down and surveyed the room. This is really cool. Just how we're getting to do this kind of thing. I accidentally hit the scroll button on my mouse. I like this too, Code. I hope we'll be able to make this happen again. Of course, there'll always be more reasons to get the gang back together in the future. Yes, the two of you might even dare to celebrate your yearly anniversary again every year. The smirk on Lucy's face grew only wider as her mom giggled at her teasing. Ma shook her head, chuckling softer now.
Shush.
Then,
True.
honestly, we just might. You've made a good point. It does come around every year. You should. Seriously, you deserve a big celebration for your magical day. The kids are right. You've got a lot of people who want to appreciate you. You've got to give them that chance. It's true. I know I have a lot to thank you for. There were more nods of agreement around the room, and your moms shook each other's hands for support. Neither were expecting so much encouragement. We'll think about it. She'll think about it, and I'll tell Lonnie to stop thinking so hard if she doesn't agree. Pam.
Good.
Good job, Mom. Now with that said, let us continue to enjoy this perfect gathering. Actually, you want to know who else being here would make this extra perfect? As amazing as this was, you couldn't help but think of absent faces in seconds everyone seriously turned their attention to you. Shiloh. Unfortunately, communication with Shiloh fell off over the past few years because he just stopped responding. It was disappointing since you still wanted to see him.
Oh.
Jules, I know me and him aren't really talking right now, but I did learn that he doesn't go by Shiloh anymore. He only responds to his middle name, Leon. Oh, that needs to surprise you. It seems he had a lot happen in his life. Not accepting his preferred name and Liv smiled. Leon is kind of distancing himself from the past, I guess, but I got the feeling one day he'll come back to it. I hope he does, and if he doesn't, I just hope he figures out what makes him happy. Me too. Those mouth wobbled nervously. He shrugged, unsure of what to make of your suggestion at all. Those two men definitely never became close. And it is too bad Baxter's missing from this. He turned to you with a genuinely thoughtful look. He rubbed at his forehead while he closed his thoughts. I think I'd be up for seeing him again. It'd be kind of interesting to see what Baxter would be like now. Yeah, I think so too. He at least had a ball with everyone gathered together.
Ooh.
Yeah, Baxter was that cool guy with the eyes, shirt, and the fancy red hair, right? I liked him. He was pretty nice. Yes, he was iconic. It's too bad he had to mysteriously disappear and never be heard from again. Maybe that makes him even more of an icon. Sorry, I didn't read it. It would be cool if Jeremy was here too. So I'll check on his gate code before his lips curve into a bent smile. He shook his head slightly while he sighed you in disbelief.
I guess.
You know he would hate this, but yeah, I wouldn't mind if Jeremy was actually here. Your green cheeks hurt from grinning so wide. You could easily imagine how vocally annoyed Jeremy would be sitting among all your friends and family. The amusement on your face followed the moment your eyes fell on Derek. His eyebrows were pinched together while he sat there, silently confused. Derek, don't you remember Jeremy? Huh? Not really. No. Should I? Not really. We met him around the playground, I think, many, many, many years ago. Oh, wow. I don't remember him at all. He was mean and loud and had a bowl-cut hairstyle. Yeah, that's still not ringing any bells. Sorry. It's alright. That's probably for the best. There was a playfulness Kyra's stare as she scanned the room. She slowly placed her index finger on her chin. Now that I think of it, there's something I haven't done in a while. Eyebrows were raised at Kyra's incomplete thought. His wordlessly urged to continue. Kyra didn't hesitate. Look through all the photos Cliff has here. Wouldn't that be fun for all of us? What? Mom, why would you say that? Practically all those photos are of me.
Very cute.
And that's why. Embarrassing my baby boy is just one of the perks of being a mom. As she coped dismay, his mom was thoroughly entertained at his outburst. She winked in your direction. Meanwhile, Cliff eagerly stood up with a wave of proud affection for his son and completely missed Kyra's teasing intent.
Oh.
I think that's a great idea. Anyone else interested in the pictures?
Yeah.
I am. We shot her hand up before Cliff could even take a full step. Harry and Miranda stuck each other a glance before nodding with matching grins. That sounds swell.
That's fantastic.
That would be lovely, Cliff. Mom tried to hide her amusement behind her hand, but she couldn't stop the snicker that slipped out. Oh boy. I want to see them. It's been too long since I last saw Little Cove. Mr. Holden met your gaze with a soft look that told you that he was thinking the same thing. I bet this will be a gold mine of entertainment. Bill buried his face in his hands and sighed slowly, his shoulders deflated in defeat. Time we can take a look. Everyone happy with picture time? Yay!
Fun!
Yes! They both excitedly raised their fists in victory. Some cheers from their friends and family worked their way around the room, and everyone bounced up. And even you bounced up to your feet excitedly. He flipped open his faded album of physical pictures. He held it up to his face. Orange of his eyes crinkled, and though the book covered much of his face, he was certain he was smiling fondly. He didn't keep it to himself. Long, laying the family album on the dining table. Then the rest of the party gathered around to get a peek. Oh my god! Baby Cove! I love it! The first picture on the center's page was Baby Cove in a cute little onesie. There were several clues and eyes from the group, and Cove's eyes were shining with tears as he sniffled. He's grown so much. Even as a baby, you look unimpressed. Sighing loudly, Cove cracked his arms. His pout grew worse. You want to put a wider grin on your own face. His perfect match to the younger self captured in ink on the page. My baby boy was a very quiet child. I probably had a lot on my mind. That's never changed. But what was there to think about? Snack time versus nap time? Cove scowled. Meanwhile, you and Kyra couldn't help but crack up into fits of laughter. After breakfast in the photo showcase, everyone decided to stick around. You were around Mr. Holden's house during the walked around the neighborhood, and then for lunch you switched over to your mom's condo. It was a really good time, enjoying each other's company, but eventually the sun began to set, and there was nothing else to delay your friends and family from going home. So at your mom's house, then you'd been raised in, the group was taking their time saying their goodbyes. There was time for you and your family and your friends. You knew what was ate on their mood. It might be some time before you'd see one another again. It was a pleasure having you all here, and you're welcome to come around again, anytime. Mom wrapped an arm around Mom with a light chuckle. Mom leaned her head gently into her lap, and they both beamed.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I know we're all adults with our own hectic lives, but we appreciate the time taken to visit. Morning lived across her arm. She leaned one hip out to the side while her lips curled teasingly. You make it sound like this was such a struggle. Some of these people still live here, and it was a vacation for everyone else. Even so, it was very thoughtful, and I hope everyone has a safe trip home. Kyra clapped a hand on Cliff's shoulder. He was puzzled as she leaned in so he could hear her. That means you too. It's dangerous crossing the street. Remember to look both ways. Hey now. Yeah, good luck with all the important grown-up things I'm sure you will have to do when you're all out of here. Definitely. I'll pick up safe next time something exciting happens, or something wins so I can vent about it. How nice. I'm glad we won't be forgetting the little people. Never ever. I'll keep in touch too.
Very
You
nice.
better. Well, me and Randy aren't going far, so keep an eye on the time for the rest of you, and nothing will get past us. Right, we'll make sure everything is okay. No need to worry at all.
Thanks.
That's kind of you. Miranda and Terry gave each other pleased smiles, already committing to their self-appointed task. Derek scratched back of his head, wearing a pensive look. It's always sad when I have to leave the sun. It happens too often, but at least there will always be people looking out for sunset parades. It makes me feel better about it. After a pause, Mr. Holden gave the younger folks a thumbs up.
Great.
It's all great. You've got a lot to be proud of, and a lot to be looking forward to. Well said, Cliff. I'm thankful that I've been privileged to witness the growth you've undergone over the years. You've each matured beautifully. Cliff was touched by his parents' words. He struggled to fill him up with something to follow. Yeah, it's been good seeing everyone. No one had taken steps yet, and you couldn't put this off any longer. It's time to say goodbye. I'm so glad we got to do this. Me too. Today was even better than I imagined. I don't know what I'm going to do without the kids around. I know, they keep us young. We're all not that old. None of us still got it. She winked at Cliff teasingly, and he shook his head. Both of your moms laughed at that, and you got several more practice smiles among your friends. Afterwards, there was more sniffling and hugs. A lot of hugs. Some people started trailing out into the street, seeing others off. The friends and family got into their cars and left the neighborhood. By the time things had fully settled, you realized what the sun had said. Earlier, you and Cove decided on having a car pick you both up. Neither of you wanted to bother your parents after such a long day. You a little while longer before it would be their turn. It was the right choice, as both sets of parents taught you where you looked. The force was ready to call it a night. It didn't take either you or Cove very long to assure them that it was okay to head home and go to bed. With one more round of good nights and goodbyes, their families returned to the condos. Then the only people left on the street were you and Cove. Cove closed his eyes, humming happily while he waited for it to pass. Cove stared up at the sky. Cove's hands were in his pockets, and his shoulders actually caught your attention with the tilt of his head. Can you guess what I'm thinking? Well, at that moment you were in the neighborhood you grew up in together with some time to spare. Rolled your shoulders back, pretended to crack a few of your knuckles, and a music look fidgeted on Cove's face while he observed you silently. Could you perhaps be thinking that the fireflies are out now?
Right.
Do you want to go to the poppy hill before we leave? Always. There was an eager bounce in your steps as you and Cove crossed over towards the hill behind your mom's house. Side by side you stared out at the view in awe. As you imagine, the hill was dotted with the glowing firefly light, perfectly reflected the memories of childhood and had close in your mind. Cove sighed contentedly, seeing them across the hill, weaving in around the blades of grass and the stars above. Cove cocked his head to the side before his expression twisted playfully. Then, when he met your eye, Cove caught him about what was on his mind when he took off running. I bet I'll catch one first. Okay, I'm getting very tired. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. You went to stand to the next firefly that caught your eye. Particularly bright fireflies that passed your face and just couldn't let it go to chase after it all over the hill. Every so often you and Cove would pass by each other, moving in opposite directions. This time you gave his shoulder a light shove to get his attention. Any luck? Not yet. The pursuit for fireflies continued until a handful had been caught. Cove crossed over to you with a bright grin that could rival every twinkling bug and star around you. Tucked between both his hands, Cove carefully held the firefly. Corners of his mouth twisted before a few giggles escaped him, and you knew that feeling well, the way the firefly would buzz around, tickling the palms of your hands. Cove's eyelids fluttered open, meeting yours. He watched you with a complicated mix of emotions, heavy with the weight of 15 years of history, of memories. Really a relief not to see the firefly circling itself complete without it. Yeah, I think you're right. You spotted another firefly lowering to your eye level before leaping up to the top of Cove's head and landed right on his hair in each nudge. What? You have a very tiny firefly hat. I do? Before you could answer, the firefly took off and disappeared into the night. You gave it a tiny wave goodbye. Well, that didn't last very long. That's too bad. I'll remember them as my tiny hat forever. Me too. Taking a deep breath, Cove held your eyes. He appeared to be conflicted about what he wanted to say next. He waited for him to make his choice. It feels strange not to live here anymore. Most of my life, neither of us were really away from Sunset Bird. Well, unless one of us went on a trip somewhere, or when both our families took trips together. Remember that? He chuckled, leaving himself to go on reminiscing. Couldn't help but match his grin. I like that road trip one a lot, though I don't think we all could squish into that RV again. We're way too big. Laughing, Cove shook his head. His brow creased along he sat with the thoughts spinning in his brain. Those visits back then with my mom, I remember what a jailbreak felt like then. To be away from here without anyone else coming for a whole few weeks. Oh, how little I knew. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2. You were so innocent then. Sighing, Cole slowly shook his head. You uttered him a small, reassuring smile. We were just adults somehow. Finally, Cole parted his hands and released the firefly back into the hill. He went off around his face before diving away up into the sky, but your days and tricks stayed on him. There was a touch of wistfulness in his features as he watched the bird disappear into the night. It wasn't until Cove turned his attention back to you that his demeanor warmed. Okay, I'm ready to go now. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2. Again. I think I'm ready to. You sure? Yeah, she's been by for a little while. There'll be more nights like this one someday. Really, if you step behind the cove, you look back down the hill. You spot your childhood home immediately. I'm grateful we could come home here and see how things were without us. It was nice.
Yeah.
It really was. The cove right there along with you. You made your way down the hill. Safe as a bug, trailing away. Trailing away, the last time sunset bird was closing out. You're lost deep within a dream, adrift in the current of your unconscious mind. Something jolted you from your slumber. The visions you constructed took them away, even as you scrambled to catch them. It had been a good dream. Open your eyes to an unfamiliar ceiling. Darkness permeated the room so thoroughly that you were sure it was still the middle of the night. Your eyes adjusted to what little light there was to catch on to. A smiling face covered itself right above you. There he was. Good morning, Jules. The grin was bright enough to make it seem like maybe the sun had risen after all. That was my dream come true, you replied sarcastically, because I could not cope with this much energy radiating off him right now. Cove laughed at your response. Sorry. The words slipped so easily from his lips that you knew he did not feel sorry at all. One, two, three, four, 5. Double covers over your head. It was too early for this. Saying that Cove would take your not too solid hit and try again after you got a decent night's rest. But you were without luck, as Cove made no attempt to DB. Would you prefer me to wake you by tapping on the window? Haha, you're so funny. Cove simply smirked and used by his own
Come
way.
on.
I mean, you really should have expected this was going to happen. I'd hoped you might have outgrown it. Never. I'm guessing you woke me up for some reason. Are you ever going to let me know? Well, this is our last day here. Everyone might still be asleep, but if we get up now, we can at least see the neighborhood. Do you want to? And everything you didn't tell me this time last night is the one was drugged. Is that a yes or a what? Okay, yeah, I'll come with you.
All right.
Great! Then he held out one of those hands to help you get up too. You took it. His grip was strong as his fingers closed around yours. He felt picking you up with ease. Before you could head out, you and Cove both need to get dressed. You did so quietly. Gracious as the hour meant that your body seemed less coordinated than usual. You tried to close clothing and you puzzled, but you managed it. We're getting there. The two of you were eventually ready to head out into the wide world. Songs still had broken when you left the hotel, yet it was easy enough to get around down into Sunset Bird. The journey was peaceful. You might have expected Sid to attempt to claim you once again and disguise this was dark, but Cove's excited energy was infectious. Morning was finally starting to come over Sunset Bird as you arrived, almost like the sun itself wanted to be there to welcome you. Cove turned towards you, his eyes sparkling with anticipation. One more summer beach trip? He laughed, nodding to reassure him, as if there was any alternative now that you were here and he was looking at you so eagerly. Yeah, one more. You could have taken your time getting here, dialing under the morning sun, or you could have taken a short walk at a regular pace. And both of those would have been just right for some other occasions, but this time, without either of you saying a word, you and Cove set off sprinting. The two of you tore gleefully down the street towards the beach, as excited and as ungainly as the kids you once been. You were laughing with joy at the absurdity of it all, being here at the break of dawn with a boy who you'd once discovered on the nearby hill, and never completely grew up. As it was so early, you did your best to keep the noise down. To the side, you saw Cove covering his mouth, stifling his own giggles, similarly aware of people speaking in the condos around you. You thought of what that meant, of what that mean old nut grandparents would have said if they could see you now. All you could do was continue running and stumbling down towards the beach, away from the residences and their sleeping occupants. It was only a few minutes before you arrived at the expansive ocean shore. Cove picked off his shoes and stood right into the water, not stopping until his feet were entirely submerged and the waves tickled his ankles. Close by on the damp sand, shutting your eyes, you enjoyed the cool sea breeze washing over your skin. The two of you stood there watching as the sun continued over the horizon. Silence fell between you until finally dawn had fully broken. Even then, Cove spoke in a whisper.
Wow.
I can't believe it's over. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. I think it's good enough. Just give a smile cut over Cove's face, like the sun peeking out between clouds on an overcast day. Lance returned just for a second. Glad we came this morning. And never came on this whole visit back.
I'm so glad.
More than anything, I'm glad we're ending up in this town in the first place where I got to grow up with a really nice neighbor. I wouldn't have wanted any other life. I'm most grateful for meeting you too. I looked over at you out of the corner of his eyes, not turning his face away from the sea. His expression was filled with affection, from the gentle curve of his smile to his clear, contented brow. There was a stark contrast to the tears rolling down his cheeks. You considered yourself lucky. Even though you were leaving now, this place had gifted you with so much that you carry with you wherever life might take you. The memories you made, the lessons you learned, the people you built relationships with, you keep those pieces of your life and set that bird forever. You stood with Cove, silently watching as bright rays swept away the last of the night shadows until the day truly arrived. Your spirits were higher in the sky. Two of you had found yourselves meandering back to the neighborhood street on sandy feet, strolling down the path just as you'd done 5 times before. This was where it all started. You were compelled to look at the exact spot you'd first encountered Mr. Holden sitting dejected on the curb. He wasn't like that anymore. Still, you couldn't forget the day it began, just as you couldn't believe what an adventure it led to. Things had never been the same since that moment, and you couldn't be happier for it. Your mental lingering in the meeting had turned physical, causing you to stop in your tracks. It was only then, when you heard Coach's voice calling your name, that you remembered where you were and realized what you'd done. And what a present it was. A shining sun, a clear blue sky, and Cove James Holden by your side. All the most natural things in the world. So, what's the next step? You watched Cove expectantly, waiting for him to guide you forward from here. There was a crinkle around his eyes as he laughed. It's up to you now. You're giving me too much power. Aren't you worried about it going to my head? Cove smirked, shaking his head.
It's okay.
Don't worry about it. I'm listening, so go ahead. His eyes met yours, holding your gaze. I believe in you, Jules. No matter how much time might pass, there are some things that you could count on to be constant. So, your family, his family, and all of your other loved ones being there for you when you needed it was one of those things. Since the beginning, and for always. Knowing they were there, and you would never be truly alone, made the future look all that much brighter. Want to grab something to eat? Your early morning escapade had stirred up your appetite, and you were positive it would have Cove as well. Cove nodded, his gaze shifting from you to roam across the little place that you both called home. There's a lot that's still out there in the world, a lot of different ways things could go in the future, but for this, I think that'd be the perfect choice. You beamed of the suggestion, lifting your spirits ever higher. The days growing up in Sunset Bird had been so wonderful. Even the prospect of leaving again made your chest ache, yet you weren't going to let that stop you. It would be hard, but you knew that it would still be there, waiting whenever you wanted to return. Standing, facing Cove, who's been by your side through it all, you knew that one day you'd look back on these moments now, just as you fondly reminisce about your childhood growing up here. Each happy moment you experienced became only a memory of what used to be. That was what life was, and it was okay. As it was from the beginning and continuing that way for always, life took another step forward. Whew. Jeez. That took a lot longer than I thought it would. It goes quicker when you're not reading it aloud, I will tell you that. Thank you for sticking with me through all of this. I did not expect it to take as long as it did. But yeah, okay, so that's it for Cove James Holden. Hopefully, I'm planning to get the DLC when it comes out. I don't know why I'm making that noise. Yeah, so there's going to be DLC for Derek and Baxter for romancing them. And I was a little disappointed there wouldn't be any for Miranda and Terry, but now I understand why. Terry. Step 4. Oh yeah, this last one I think is only if you romance. So Baby Cove, so cute. And then you can change Cove's appearance to change how he looks in the different CGs. And same with these and with these. And that's not necessary for these. And so yeah, thank you for sticking with me. If you enjoyed this, please. We're not quite done with yet. Next week I will be playing a demo for the upcoming art game. I don't know how long this will take because I have not played it before. But yeah, I hope you all have a great time. And see you next week, and my voice will hopefully get better. Bye.